And here we go. Are we good? We're good. Hello, hello, hello. We're waiting until everything warms up here. We'll be watching Maxim Kalashnikov and Yuri Yevich in one of their more spectacular interviews as of late. It's going to be quite depressing, and I hope that you will please. Oh, everything's working. You ever checking stuff out? Let me. It only wants to show Russian ones. How do we put on the English?
Change the scene.
No, here on YouTube, I want to put the Russian I want to put on the English subtitles, not the.
I don't think this one video has them.
But how do you generate? Okay, I'm gonna have to translate this one. Words for you guys.
Yay!
It's gonna be pretty.
Start to change the scene, please.
Also, chat doesn't work.
Does it not? Why not?
Things don't work. And we need to share this on Blue Sky too, I suppose. Streaming's difficult. Okay, we have a link now. I'm gonna post this on Facebook. Yeah, by the way, hello, this is my travel computer, and we're watching Tactical Medicine with Yuri Yevich. Because apparently Yuri Yevich is one of the craziest people out there on the Viking side, but he's also a medical doctor who does all the medical stuff. And in this interview, they decided to go with Maxim Kalashnikov and complain about how much Russian army has lost, ridiculous amounts of, and why everyone is about to be at war with them, and how they need to prepare for the big war, and basically advertises his own services. However, this is special because normally we would see this man, that you're going to see very soon once we post the link, happier and more convinced about himself, and there's going to be plenty of insane, crazy quotes. Yay! Hello, concurrent viewers, all three of you. We're starting soon. I'm just going to post this one, and we're figuring out things. I'm not used to this laptop stuff. Streaming about Yuri Yevich. We have my friends here in the room with me at the moment. Oh no, wait. No, that's not the stream thing. That's his YouTube thing. Oh, I was sharing. I'm stupid. I just shared didn't share the correct thing. Share the original video. Okay, so how do I share it? Share. And then this, okay. I've been a bit overwhelmed. I hope that you can find the strength inside you to forgive me. But it does. Rob, please do the social media thing.
No.
If possible, go on my Blue Sky and do the same thing, because I can't do this. It's just too horrible. It doesn't allow me to do the thing that I want to do. Apparently YouTube chat is not working for someone. Why don't we have a YouTube chat? Hello? I'm just checking if the chat is working.
It does work.
Apparently it does work. Well, Yep says it doesn't work. Well, I'll be sitting here. Yeah, we have Yep and we have Michelle here. Oh, hello. Yeah, the problem is that I can only share the stream with everything because I've been busy and overworked. And now we're going to start. Hello Train, hello Paul, and hello people. Okay then, people who are joining us now, start from the beginning because, oh boy, I will now.
Change scene.
I will change the scene. Yes, I'm clicking the button to change the scene, and chat is just dead in the OBS studio. Scene 1. Hello, this is Maxim Kalashnikov, writer, futurologist. We're gonna.
You don't see him. Oh, no, you do.
I want to make him full screen.
Друзья!
I'm gonna have to translate this one for you because he's only put Russian auto-generated subtitles. Oh, there's options. Let's see now. Nope. He only puts in Russian subtitles on. So for this one, dear comrades, I will be doing a full translation of this of this nonsense
Wait.
as much as I can. Rob says I should wait.
No.
Okay, wait. We have the scene now. I will.
Can you refresh
Yeah?
the scene?
This is the scene.
Turn the video capture on and off again on this one. Why is it doing that?
Wait, video capture is not working.
Just switch to scene 3 then.
Scene 3 is horrible.
Yeah, because it's not resized.
Let me see. Video capture.
Okay, kill it and do it and add.
How do I do that?
Just delete. Remove. Yes. Add it again.
And now we'll add the video capture device.
Yes. Okay.
Hello.
It's okay, and then.
Okay, yeah. And
There we go.
Then I can move it, and you can look at me.
It's live, I think. Yes, it
Ooh,
is.
oh,
It is.
nice.
Alright.
Okay, we're finally on to this stuff. I hope that you can see all this now. If it's a bit laggy, it's because, again, I'm on my laptop. This is my microphone that's actually survived Ukraine all this time. But I'll be translating this live to you because, sadly, we do not have subtitles here. And we can't even get them. It's horrible. But this is Maxim Kalashnikov. And the thing that they're doing in the interview is called so that not as many wounded would die. This is an episode all about how they're complaining about stuff. And, seeing previous actions by Yuri Yevich, we're finally gonna enjoy him not being as happy as he normally would be.
У нас сегодня на связи снова наш друг, не побоюсь этого слова, Юрий Юрьевич Евич, он сейчас на отдыхе. Юр, я приветствую.
He's just introducing Yevich here, but he always uses very strange terms because literally what he said was, and this is I've noticed all the time. He said, "Today in connection with us we have, and I will not be afraid of this word, Yuri Yevich." I'm a bit confused about that, but he does weird language tricks sometimes. Whenever he learns a new word, like black swan, he used that like 15 times.
У тебя, дорогой мой.
Спасибо, дорогой.
Yeah, this guy, Yuri Yevich, I have quoted him in so many episodes. I have mentioned him. The problem is he used to appear in YouTube very little. He wasn't available normally, and I finally decided that it's time to, give you this stuff. Hopefully it works. And I will now close the OBS because, oh no, it messes with my brain. But yeah, this is Yuri Yevich. He's an MD, and he's an utter fanatic who hates all of you. And that's not an exaggeration.
Ой мой, я приветствую наших уважаемых читателей, слушателей и хочу
He started out by greeting our readers, because obviously.
всем дать маленькое напутствие по своему скромному опыту. Вернувшись с войны, обязательно съездите куда-нибудь в санаторий. Не просто
He's just giving advice. He starts out the whole thing by saying, "I want to give a little humble advice from my experience. Once you return from the war, go to a sanatorium or something." He's activating for mental health.
там
Nice.
лежать пузом кверху в обмороке или алкоголь бухать. Ехать в специальные места реабилитации для военных, там вам пропишут все, что надо, начиная с капельниц, вы быстро вернетесь в строй, сможете служить Отечеству. Это всем нашим слушателям, кто будет участвовать в войне, участвовать будут почти все поголовно, просто многие еще об этом не думают.
Okay, this was an important thing, an important phrase here. Rob, you actually should pay attention to this one.
Для военных, там вам пропишут все, что надо, начиная с капельниц, вы быстро вернетесь в строй, сможете служить Отечеству. Это всем нашим слушателям, кто будет участвовать в войне, участвовать будут почти все поголовно, просто многие еще об этом не думают,
What he said here is that this is a great advice to all of our listeners here, to all of my listeners who will be participating in the war, and almost everyone will participate in the war, except most of them just don't know about it yet. Yeah, we're in that sort of territory. He firmly believes all this nonsense.
Что ж поделать, многие о многом не думают, а потом сожалеют. Просто запомните этот совет.
Юрий Юрьевич, дорогой мой, очень важная вещь.
Yeah, Maxim Kalashnikov is going to be trying to keep this guy sane throughout the episode. He will fail miserably.
Но я хотел спросить тебя сегодня, вот действительно злободневным, Вот, ну, во-первых, мой друг мне пишет с фронта, не только он, старик новобранец. Вот, у нас страшная проблема, я сужу по тому, что пишут, эвакуация, санитарные потери, то есть наши раненые по объективным причинам, ну, не вывезешь, вынуждены ждать помощи, иногда сутками, да, будучи ранеными.
Okay, by the way, Rob, please tell me if in the chat someone says how often should I pause to translate, but I'll pick the most important stuff out of this one. Kalashnikov just stated that he has a very important question that he got from the front for Yevich, which is about why does it look better?
We have some slight technical issues, yes.
We have technical issues?
We have technical issues.
Am I not being seen or heard?
You are being heard, but it's super loud. I think it's because the microphone that it's picking up is not that one. It's the
okay, wait.
laptop itself.
I will now finish. I'll just finish the sentence.
Mm-hmm. No, you can be heard, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the idea is that he said that he feels very horrible. Oh no, it's fine. The gain was too high on the hardware.
Ah.
Sorry about that.
Wait. Don't launch it.
I can't wait. I just wanna finish this. So what happens is that he states that he's getting a lot of reports from the front about how so many Russian soldiers die while waiting for evacuation for literal days. Why at this moment so many wounded move from sanitary casualties to actually important big ones?
I need to slightly.
And now we have some adjustments here. I'm sorry if I'm.
Yeah, I'll do it quickly because I think what we'll do is we'll switch to scene 3 because
Okay.
both the camera and the
It eats up too much web or something.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's not.
Okay, we'll do that.
Properly, so.
Yeah, you don't need to see my face for now. It's fine.
Yeah, you'll just see Yuri Yevich.
Oh,
Maxim
Yuri Yevich and Maxim Kalashnikov will be fine.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do that, and then whenever you need to scene 3.
Cool. And then we can just switch this off. Oh, hello then.
Yes.
Oh, this works now. Whoa.
Let me see if
Please check. I'll unpause this while he talks later on.
Вот, эвакуировать их, ну, очень-очень трудно. И говорят, сейчас наши санитарные потери не 1 к 3, там, не на 3 раненых, не 1 убитый, а чуть ли не 1 к 1 уже.
Hey, he's saying that the Russian casualties are not as normal 1 for 3. He's talking about sanitary losses. That would be normal, 1 dead for 3 wounded. It's about 1 to 1 at this point. That's the ratio. We have to say thanks to Magyar for that, because he invented the drone lines. But yeah, the situation is so bad that even these guys are talking about this, and they are amongst the most ardent supporters of Russia, after all.
Вот, и насколько, да, и вот сейчас Александр Картавых тоже опубликовал исследование, почему люди
To be honest, I did not understand this last sentence because he just mumbled it though.
не собираются вербоваться, идти в армию, в том числе и по этим причинам. А вот с твоей точки зрения,
Yeah,
Юрий,
he's not mentioning the thing that
насколько
they said in
эта
the last
проблема
episode,
велика,
why people don't want to
этих
go into the
санитарных
Russian army.
потерь из-за невозможности эвакуации?
Дорогой мой, я хотел бы сказать, что если ты обратил внимание, раньше я, когда эфиры записывал,
Okay, adjustments. I've watched this before, so I'll just translate this one. He says in response, "My dears, you should know that if previously I intimidated people with my data about casualties, right now I make people calmer, since at this point everything's gotten so much worse than previously." I'm sorry, we're now doing this from my laptop, and weirdly, it's going to get hopefully better. Oh yeah, because it's going through the TV as well, because I'm watching this on the TV too. Oh yeah. Thanks, Rob.
Let's try like this and see.
я наших слушателей пугал. Типа, вот, обстановка серьезная, устрашающая. А теперь я их успокаиваю, потому что обстановка настолько устрашающая, что если начать говорить как есть, да еще с эмоциями, наши слушатели утратят вообще, знаешь, как это, сиди, я сам открою, утратят вообще всякую логику и способность к эффективным действиям.
Okay, and this is an important phrase why I chose this thing. He just said that, well, I am doing this by currently not talking about as much about our casualties, since our situation is so dire that if I would be speaking about this openly and honestly with emotions, then our dear listeners, because he doesn't know he's being filmed, they're not good with technology, then again, neither are we, then the situation would be so horrid that everyone watching this would lose any ability to function normally and lose the ability to use logics. Yeah, this is why we're doing our streams again with this.
Поэтому сейчас обстановка такова, что уже приходится успокаивать. Итак, двинемся по порядку. Первое.
So moving in order, first thing.
По поводу того, что потери большие. Я не могу
Now he's commenting about, the first point is about why the losses are so big.
не процитировать анекдот. Это, знаете, своеобразная такая защитная реакция психики. Когда ты сталкиваешься со всем этим на войне, ты учишься с юмором реагировать на самые страшные вещи, потому что если у тебя нет...
He's now going to quote an anecdote, and he explains that that's a natural, common reaction. Of course he does. He's basically treating everyone else as way lesser than him because he's going to tell a joke in a dark situation, thus lessening the gravity of the situation. I guess everyone got more educated now, but that really passes for a proper, deep analysis in the vatnik sphere.
Хотя бы немного юмора и сама воевать эффективно не сможешь. Так вот, есть такой анекдот. Жители одной деревни, у них установили вышку сотовой связи, и они пришли к директору сотовой компании жаловаться. Говорят, у нас голова болит от излучения. А он им говорит, это фигня. Вы подумайте, что будет, когда мы ее включим. Поясняю. Вот сейчас, когда на нас навалится Финляндия, Молдавия, Польша.
Okay, so the joke was the fact that one village is complaining to other village about how they're getting a new 5G tower. And then they're complaining that the new tower is causing them headaches to the person who set this one up. And the person says, oh, you just wait until it gets turned on. And now he starts, and I'll actually go back a little. I opened the chat on my phone, and someone just commented something. I want to go back a bit because he now counts amount. He now says what awaits Russia when the following countries join in openly in the war.
Когда мы ее включим, поясняю. Вот сейчас, когда на нас навалится Финляндия,
Finland,
Молдавия, Польша регулярными войсками, масштабно всей армией, не подразделениями и ЧВК.
Oh yeah, he also in this statement claims that Poland is already fighting in the war with private warfare companies and mercenaries, of course.
Казахстан, Узбекистан, Таджикистан проводят учения под руководством английских спецслужб.
Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan are being taught by British secret services. Always blame the Anglo-Saxon. Always.
Против России, они на нас нападут.
Then they all will immediately attack Russia. Oh yeah, by the way, he also firmly believes that everyone already has attacked Russia. He's fighting a defensive war in his own mind.
Япония, НАТО, когда полетят баллистические...
Japan and NATO too.
Ракеты массово, они как сейчас по одной. Когда будут удары десятками тысяч томагавков, как по Югославии.
Okay, he says, we will know through they'll know through horror when we will get full ballistic missile strikes, not just 1 and 2 or like now. And this is a fact that you need to check. He just claimed that when we will be struck by 10,000 Tomahawk missiles like Yugoslavia, because obviously he's on the Serb side and he thinks that shouldn't exist. Were any Tomahawk missiles striking Yugoslavia, Rob? Just Google it up. Because he said when we will be struck by 10,000 Tomahawk missiles like Yugoslavia during those wars. Let us fact check him. I'm a professional after all. This is interesting. Trine, I've opened this on my phone. I can see that you're saying where's the Great Satan? The Great Satan will appear. What's the numbers? Please do check. Not like facts matter with this guy. It's just that I want to be accurate. I want to make fun and criticize this person about the things that he actually says, wrongly and lies about. Not the nonsense that he spouts out randomly. Well, Rob, come here and talk into the microphone, please, if you're going to talk.
No, I know. I'm just talking to you right now.
Okay.
One of the first facts is that obviously Yugoslavia as a thing didn't even by that point exist.
The same thing for Serbia, their own version of empire. Rob said Yugoslavia didn't exist at the point, but it's fine. Tomahawk missile striking Slobodan Milosevic, please. I bet it's about like 3, maybe. If were they even invented then back then?
Tomahawks, yeah, they were.
Rob says they were. But we have to check. 10,000 tomahawks is a lot of money. Like, didn't each of them cost like $1 million or something?
Only how many did you say? 10,000.
10,000. Yeah, he said 10,000. Rob.
3,000 cruise missiles were fired, and these are all cruise missiles.
That's including tomahawks, not just tomahawks.
This was from all NATO aircraft.
Okay, from all NATO aircraft together, 3,000 cruise missiles were launched. That's including tomahawks, but most of them definitely weren't. Let's give if we give him the benefit of the doubt and presume that every NATO country ever only used tomahawks for this task, he's still lying by a lot. See, when normally, why I'm doing this is when normally he spouts nonsense, right? We can't fact check this. I'm just lucky that he said something that can be factologically checked. What? Please work. Rob, it doesn't. Sorry about that. It doesn't want to play.
В завершение пойдет ядерное оружие, вот тогда потери будут действительно впечатляющими.
Oh yeah, now
Так
he's
что по
threatening
сравнению с
that
тем,
NATO
что
will
будет
use
тогда,
nukes on Russia
сейчас,
first too.
увы,
Yay.
только разминка. Это первое, что я хотел бы нашим
That's the
слушателям
first
сказать,
thing about
которые сидят и
why the
думают, что
casualties
вот
are big.
все
Casualties are not
как-то
big, they
само
will be big in
собой
the
чудом
future.
закончится завтра, да. Второй момент.
Second moment.
По поводу положения дел на фронте.
About the situation on the
Я,
front.
ребята, в своих многочисленных видео раньше многократно говорил, что в современных условиях боевых действий мы...
Yeah.
One of your listeners pointed out that, which is very true.
Okay. Yeah.
That Tomahawks are not aircraft launch, and thusly 0 Tomahawk missiles were used in the Yugoslavia campaign because Yugoslavia campaign was purely from the air.
Unsurprisingly, we have found out that I'm sorry, I'm not a missile expert. Apparently, tomahawks just. Oh man, it's a total mess as usual. But now he's talking about. What?
Когда я еще был в составе подразделения нашего выполнял задачу.
The problem is his Russian is mumbly and not as coherent, especially with my headphones on.
Вот эти 3 контракта. Я постоянно говорил, что сделали мы тактическую медицину, как могли своими силами напряглись вместе с соратниками по всей стране.
This is a one super long sentence. I'm trying to get this. I'm actually going to re-roll it back because when I was listening to the answer to the question, Yevich is not easy to listen to, even with my Russian skills, because he mumbles and then he misses the point completely and does it in super regular order.
Раньше многократно говорил.
Okay, now he starts the sentence with "I have told you many times that," and then the weird parts that
В
happen.
современных условиях боевых действий мы, когда я еще был в составе подразделения нашего выполнял задачу, вот эти 3 контракта.
I have many times repeated that in modern battlefields, when we were already serving in the 3rd contract with that unit, and with that I remember that. Yeah, that's what's going on. This is why I'm not doing this word for
Я
word.
постоянно говорил, что сделали мы тактическую медицину, как могли своими силами напряглись вместе с соратниками по всей стране, мы и другие энтузиасты. Однако, когда началась война, оказалось, что прав был тот самый Пиндос, я его выражение постоянно.
Okay, so I got this point. He said that we did the best tactical medicine that we could with me and my comrades. However, when the war started, turns out that this Pindos was right. Here's one for you, Train. Pindos is the derogatory term for American, from the Yugoslav wars no less. And it was made because they look like penguins, apparently, because they were told on duty. And this comes from Lurkmar, because I had to check this one up. It comes from the fact that NATO soldiers, and obviously everyone in NATO is American, according to these people, NATO soldiers were told that they'll get their payments for being wounded only if they are in like full equipment or uniform or something, so they just carried everything around. There are obviously maybe other reasons too, but that was the idea, that they always walked around with all their kit, and that made them look like penguins. And as NATO is the United States, this is why Pindose. If you hear the word Pindos, that means that he's referring to the Americans. Do not mistake with evil Anglo-Saxons from London, obviously.
Привожу. Спасение жизни раненого на поле боя только 15% это медпомощь ему.
He doesn't name the American
эвакуация.
person, but
Совершенно
he quotes him
правильно он
stating
был.
that
Ну, перевязал ты его,
15%
остановил
of
кровотечение,
survival rate depends
утеплил,
on
блин, даже
tactical
капельницу
medicine,
поставил. Дальше
85% is on
что?
evacuation.
Всю палату, весь госпиталь ты с собой на поле боя не принесешь никак, и врачей не привезешь. И там все это быстро враги сломают, а вас убьют всех банально. Значит, нужно убирать в тыл. Так вот, обвальное развитие, я не знаю, эпохальное, кардинальное дронов, мы целый ряд...
Yeah, now he's starting to blame like the drones on the massive losses. Again, Mr. Magyar, you could be proud. But yeah, original audio is horrible as usual for Maxim Kalashnikov. That is never as good. Also, he doesn't know he's being filmed, this guy that you're watching. Normally, if you've noticed it, we didn't crop this out, like on the lower corner. The problem is that in the previous interview they did with Maxim Kalashnikov, he was more zoomed out. But check the chat. Okay, let me check the chat. Oh, hello, Maxner. You are in the right place. We see ships here. We're still check the chat. The idea is that now we know what PC he uses because he can't change his username. And Maxim Kalashnikov tried to crop it out as much as he could to hide it from us. Lenovo says 10,000 Tomahawks, right?
Ряд эфиров записывали, да, дорогой мой, в том числе с тобой, на эту тему, привело к тому, что сейчас и на 15 километров во многих местах к линии фронта не подъедешь, потому что сразу уничтожат любое транспортное средство.
Okay, here he's actually stating an important fact. In modern-day Ukraine battlefields with the drones, with FPV drones everywhere, you can't drive closer to the line of combat for like 15 kilometers. 15 kilometers is the dead zone. You can't get any vehicle closer to the troops than that. Otherwise, it gets blown apart. So the last 15 kilometers. Rob, how much is that in miles? I'm not torturing my computer for that.
How many miles?
15 kilometers in miles.
15 kilometers in miles.
Michelle,
I lived too long in Europe.
you live too long in Europe. Okay.
It is 9.3 miles.
9.3 miles. That's the distance. That's the distance where Russia can get their logistics to. Afterwards, they have to use donkeys and all the other stuff, or just carried by hand. This is an important fact, which should be noted, really.
Вынос пешком на руках даже не смешно. Группа людей, несущих раненого медленно, это самая удобная цель, которая тут же будет также уничтожена. Раньше мы по серому заходили, выходили, на рассвете, на закате все действия делались. Но противник не идиот, он всю активность свою беспилотную сосредотачивает именно в эти промежутки времени.
Okay, so this is important. Earlier, this guy with other Russian volunteers, when they went out to give tourniquets and like bandages and just first aid kits to the Russian army, because again, Russia does not supply them, it's all on these volunteers, and this guy, who also provides the instructions on how to use them, they used to go in the gray zone, as he just said. That's in the early mornings and in the late nights. But for the first time ever, he mentioned that the enemy is not an idiot, so now he's focusing the drone attacks at those times, and it's now very difficult, and we cannot deliver them, which also increases the casualty rate of Russia on the battlefield.
За счет количества птиц и внимательности наблюдателей, которые в остальное время большей частью отдыхают, тоже ликвидировал возможности спокойной логистики в это время. Соответственно, в этих условиях...
Okay, he now states that Ukraine has basically destroyed any options of logistics at that period. I hope that you can get his tone and emotion from his voice, not mine, not my translation.
Первое, что решение транспортной проблемы является важнейшей. Причем транспорт поля боя – это не только эвакуационные средства. Очень многие люди думают, что для них война сводится к эвакуации раненого. Первое. Ребята, если у вас постоянная эвакуация раненых, значит вы плохо воюете.
Now he's talking about the importance of transport in the battlefield and how for many volunteers it's only about the evacuation of the wounded. However, if there are many wounded to be evacuated, then you're fighting poorly.
Пиндосы говорят, лучшая медицинская
Again, Pindose is the term for Americans.
помощь в бою – это тотальное огневое превосходство.
Okay, so now he quotes Americans. Мисел Йоран Americans. He quotes Americans. Pindose говорят, the best medicine on the battlefield is the total evaporation of the enemy, in the sense that you explode them limb from limb. Which American has said that? He literally quoted, Americans say that, quote, this phrase.
То есть нужно
If anyone has any ideas, post.
так противника закошмарить и поражать, чтобы он был постоянно обеспокоен вопросом эвакуации раненых, своих.
That basically means that the enemy must be so horrified and damaged and like struck that they need to worry about the evacuation of their wounded. That's the big issue of this whole war.
Значит, нам нужно напередок подвозить боекомплект, вооружение, в том числе тяжелое, бензин и для генераторов и сами генераторы, беспилотники, чтобы наши операторы поражали вражеские цели и множество другого. А вывоз раненых, да даже банально воду. Как людям воевать, если у них нет воды и хотя бы немного продуктов?
Wait. Okay, this is good. Rob, did you catch that one? Listen to this.
Поражали вражеские цели и множество другого. А вывоз раненых, да даже банально воду. Как людям воевать, если у них нет воды и хотя бы немного продуктов?
Yeah, he mentioned that the soldiers at the front line of Russia, they need drones, med kits, every equipment humanly possible. And then at the end, he dropped the most important phrase. Well, you're talking about the wounded. How do you talk about the wounded when the guys, when they lack water and how do you fight without water and with barely any food? Certified Donetsk, but like he's speaking because he's seen all of them. He's seen all of them, and I've also heard a lot of reports about how they get dropped like half liter of bottle on the front lines there, if they're lucky.
В этих вышеперечисленных условиях решение вопроса транспорта, оно критически важное, и эвакуация раненых является частным случаем перевозки всех сопутствующих изделий, товаров, материально-технического обеспечения войны, о чем я выше и сказал. Соответственно, первое, само собой необходим транспорт поля боя.
What he's doing here is he's trying to be optimistic because he wants to speak about the real situation, but like he said, he wants to calm down everyone. Yet you can tell from his emotional state and the little things that he drops that, they pretty much know that they're screwed. Oh, fun fact, by the way, which you guys also might have known. I haven't put this on the episode yet. Currently, Kazakhstan had decided to join the sanctions, so now they're checking all the great things. So, like for 5 weeks already, over 1,000 trucks are sitting on the Kazakhstan-Russia border. Same thing is now happening on China-Russia border, but that's because of Russian customs officers who want to get bribes from this stuff. So there's like thousands of trucks on the border not getting to these guys as well, which is why he's extra sad at the moment. I'm just waiting when this ends to make it a proper thing, but I'm just so far collecting the stuff that they're complaining about their own customs officers literally ruining their war effort. Because they can't do it through the army, they have to do it as private persons, and private persons can't have FPV drones. They might put an explosive on them, nor they can have medkits after all.
Принципиально новый. У нас есть целые видео, как этот вопрос решен у противника, прежде всего у пиндосов. Например, гусеничные платформы грузоподъемностью до 2 тонн, которые едут до 30 километров в час. Пиндосы заказали 15 тысяч штук таких. Подумайте, какие большие возможности по перевозке любых грузов, по вывозу раненых. Второе. Есть у них еще более мощные платформы, такие похожие на маленькую БМП Рипсау. Та прет несколько тонн, еще больше, чем 2, не помню, грузоподъемность. У ней бронирование серьезное, у ней скорость высокая. Плюс за счет того, что у нее серьезный вес и броня, она валит лес, ей не нужно дорогу делать, мучаться. Она сама пройдет, где ей надо. То есть нам нужно такое же для вывоза раненых. Это
Yeah,
первое,
he said
что нам
that they
нужно
need the
делать.
same one, but
И
didn't specify
второе,
which one.
само собой, нам необходимо развивать тактическую медицину дальше, потому что, во-первых, с техникой плохо, и раненых быстро не уберут, то есть все равно нужно раненым оказывать масштабную
All of this, by the way, was one sentence, and now he said, and furthermore, to this I need to add that firstly, tactical medicine needs to be developed. He'll
помощь
get to
гораздо
meaningful
более
parts.
масштабную, чем ранее. Во-вторых, если у вас раненые, то раненые сейчас достаточно серьезные в большинстве. Речь идет о том, что когда...
Okay, this is an important thing. Now he starts talking about the details, and he says, in modern units currently in the Russian army, if there are any wounded, then they, by default, vast majority of them, well, he did a formalism of this, like by definition, they're all seriously wounded because of the sanitary losses. There's no longer this 1-to-3 relationship there. So we always talk about heavily wounded people here. Also, if someone could please post the link to this on Blue Sky and tag me in so that I can repost, that would be nice. Otherwise, my one arm is feeling bad.
Происходит прилет, чаще всего поражение происходит дроном ударным, то это множественные осколочные ранения плюс минно-взрывная травма. Удар.
Again, he's not just explaining that this is most likely from the drones. It's a shrapnel plus, of course, the explosion.
Ударной волной поражается человек и ожоги получает, плюс контузия. Соответственно, нужна более мощная помощь первичная, чем было ранее. Соответственно, если вы, дорогой друг мой, не возражаете, и вроде ответил я на этот вопрос и перейду, расскажу о наших курсах подготовки по тактической медицине, которые сейчас развиваются, которые сделаны с учетом этого нового опыта.
Which is why he's now making a new
Конечно.
course.
Я хочу особо сказать, что был всего лишь на одной конференции, но я видел вот этих энтузиастов, которые предлагали и дроны для перевозки людей, и грузов тоже, естественно, и платформы наземные, вот, тоже барракуду, который уже Юрий Юрьевич прославлял. Вот. Но все это делается пока на энтузиазме. Я очень уважаю Юрия Юрьевича, его отряд Т, потому что это, по сути дела, продолжение традиции экспериментальной эскадры воздушных кораблей в Первую мировую, знаменитого Шедловского. Это...
Oh, okay. So, this is an interesting fact. I have been comparing on the show that modern drone development, FPV drones, are somewhat related to the development of aircraft in the First World War, the early aircraft. He goes one step further. He now states that the Russian drone engineers are direct descendants from a World War I Russian airplane ace or something. I'm not very much informed about Russian plane aces, but still, at least someone else has called this. Like, Maxim Kalashnikov is not completely dumb, although he certainly looks the part.
Продолжение традиций опытного отряда подводного плавания адмирала Ченсновича накануне Первой мировой. Вот, собственно, или там Головановская авиация дальнего действия при Сталине. И вот поэтому очень важно сейчас обратиться к тому, что сейчас все-таки делает отряд Евича, не только, так сказать, кратко его истории. Юрий Юрьевич, давно вы не приглашали людей на свои курсы. Передаю слово вам.
Спасибо. Про эскадру воздушных кораблей прочитал. Материал, который вы мне сбросили, очень активная работа энтузиастов. И познавательно почитать, как командование и завистники из других частей им вредили. Вот без всякого преувеличения, чтобы понять, что, к огромному сожалению, даже в самых критических ситуациях у нас в стране присутствует пагубная традиция у некоторого количества населения не помогать войне с врагами, а вредить своим на радость врагам. Будем молиться, чтобы Господь дал разумение, даровал всем нашим гражданам, в том числе тем, кто вредит и не хочет помогать.
That's his line,
Господи, пошли разумение.
He's also a communist, mind you. Okay, what he said now was important because he said the main issue for all these troubles is that, and he put it in nice little flowery language. He said that the biggest issue that we have is that in our country there is a tradition that when a war happens, most of the people in Russia do not help the effort in the front lines, but instead try to hurt it and try to make profits by themselves. That's after mentioning Stalin and all his effectiveness. And again, he's also a communist, and now he's praying, presumably to Stalin, for the wisdom of these people. He can't say anything openly about the government, though, because then he'll go to prison, which is why these guys technically are so brave, never mentioning Putin by name even. Mr. Lenovo.
Властям, народу и воинству России. Так вот, значит, дорогой мой, движемся по порядку. Я на свои курсы не приглашал по простой причине. Во-первых, у меня много работы непосредственно боевой. Недавно ездил на фронт в одно из наших подразделений, куда мы наших выпускников пристроили. Нужно было мне. И, во-первых, у нас мы выпускникам обещаем, что мы будем курировать их в подразделении, чтобы, если что не так, в меру скромных сил повлиять на обстановку. Или хотя бы знать, что что-то не так. Во-вторых, мне нужно понять, правильно ли мы учим людей, или нужно что-то дополнять, уточнять. В-третьих, мне нужно от людей услышать, все ли в порядке в подразделении, и от подразделения услышать, вдруг они недовольны нашими выпускниками. Ну и вообще, бывает на фронте необходимо, если ты занимаешься военным делом, нельзя все время сидеть. Получил я удовольствие от общения, мы записали материал, даст Бог, скоро и фильм об этом выйдет, документальный очередной фильм из серии «Отряд». Так вот, я без к чему. И прибыв в подразделение, пообщавшись, я с командиром подразделения, это, значит, одно из лучших подразделений из известных мне, имперский легион, командир Денис Гариев, они тоже очень много делают экспериментального, являются первопроходцами, сами создают методики подготовки, клуб партизанов известен на всю страну. Ну, поэтому мы и дружим, знаете, говорят, что лучшая дружба – это по общему делу. Вот. Побеседовал с ним по Такмеду, у них же свежайшие случаи оказания помощи, в том числе при тяжелых ранениях. Побеседовал с ним, побеседовал с другими ребятами, и теперь скажу следующее. С учетом этого совершенствуем, развиваем те курсы тактической медицины, которые у нас есть. Прежде всего, я хотел бы всем сказать.
So yeah, this idea is the fact that he has noticed that the wounded are getting more damaged, I suppose. And this is why he's updating his courses. He's driving around, giving tourniquets, assigning first aid soldiers to units. And the soldiers are all volunteers. Obviously, none of this has to do with the Russian government. He's doing this for volunteer money, for money of Igor Girkin and his buddies whom they collect. All these vatniks that I quote all the time. He's doing this because he truly believes all this stuff. And without people like him, Russian army would fare much worse. However, at the same time, he's also not being loved by Putin because he makes Russian army look bad because Russian army technically is supposed to have everything. It's a catch-22, but of course they'll never admit this, so they'll use this flowery language here.
Базовый курс медицинской подготовки нашей включает 3 дня и предусматривает работу в условиях, имитирующих боевые действия. Там отражены все основные элементы помощи, которые может вам...
I want to answer something. Subtle Life. Now he's also manning guns, delivering weapons, and has also participated in combat action. Of course he has. Their journalists have. He is a very legitimate target by any standard because he's actively participating in combat. If he delivers those medkits, that's one thing. But most of the time, it's not like Ukrainians are going to shoot him. This guy deserves to go to the Hague. The problem is that he's often blackmailed by his own guys. That's the situation. And he actively calls for, genocide and wants to murder everyone. He's not a good guy, but he's definitely endorsed war crimes, but that's because he honestly believes all this nonsense, and he's just weird. He's a weird paradox of being a good medic, educated, but yet just bizarre. That's the answer to the question, Sadalnev.
Понадобится, то есть помощь.
And now he's describing the new training session. They are now giving training which simulates full combat situations, basically.
При кровотечениях, при контузиях, при ожогах, при переломах, организация этапов эвакуации, эвакуация с места ранения, действия, слаженные в группе, в Все это делалось по курсу еще 2014 года по опыту, и с тех пор постоянно совершенствовалось по опыту каждой новой войны, где мы участвуем.
evacuation,
Отзывы с
stopping
фронта людям
bleeding,
спасибо за то, что дают
traumas and
отзывы.
everything. He just
При
now
этом
stated
я
all the
хотел
things
бы
that you need to do
отметить
in a battlefield as a medic, and
следующее.
now he says he's out there and
Дорогие
everything.
мои, львиная доля отзывов находится в следующем контексте. Юрич там...
Rob, this is the part you can't miss. Okay, I'll be back here because this is the part where he starts complaining because he is. I think he's gone a bit insane because he's a doctor, really, right? And Maxim Kalashnikov is the same one. Maxim Kalashnikov asks concrete standard questions about this situation. But at one point, Yevich just simply can't hold himself. Yevich has to go full insane and start complaining about other stuff. And this is the point where he does this. Because now he says, but besides all that, I've gotten a lot of reviews. However, my dears, and this is an important thing I want to tell you. Now we're going to listen to his full text, which I'm going to translate in full.
Спасибо, благодаря вашим курсам оказал помощь стольким-то бойцам, стал начменом такого-то подразделения, это все хорошо, но ваши курсы не посещал, посмотрел видео в интернете, когда оказался на фронте, благодаря этому оказывал помощь. Ребята, я в шоке, но вы же разумные люди, существа, я надеюсь, человеки. Сколько агитируем, с 2015 года курсы наши существуют, огромное количество.
So, the biggest reviews that he gets is, in short, yeah, I watched their videos, mostly political garbage about how we're all evil here. And again, I have to remind you, he's a really competent medic. And everyone goes to courses, maybe joins a unit or something. However, the biggest review is, well, yeah, you have a great idea and thank you for your work. And I joined this and that unit. However, I watched some YouTube videos and didn't go to your courses because, they were far away. But otherwise, thank you for what you're doing. He's basically complaining that he doesn't have enough customers because it turns out that, it's getting bad. He's now out of his third contract. Yeah, he went for 3 contracts. Spent all his money on this stuff because he's a genuine believer. I think he might be running out at this point. But right now we're going to get the ad part about that he's been yelling since 2015. Because, of course, since 2015, the war is coming. The war is coming.
Что людей, попавших на фронт, курсы не посетило. Ну, хорошо, если он с перепугу сообразил, нашел интернет. Хорошо, если у него интернет есть. Хорошо, если он научился. И они нам пишут, вот спасибо за фильмы учебные. А сколько никогда ничего не напишут. Потому что заранее не подготовились, а там не было интернета, или не успели посмотреть, или неправильно поняли, и десяток причин.
Okay, this is important because, as you might have understood by now, he genuinely cares about the Russian medical situation. He's a true believer. And he knows medicine. And he says that, okay, guys, it's okay that you watch a YouTube video. And he also said that some soldiers have been, saved, their lives have been saved by the fact that he watched this video. However, he doesn't mention numbers because obviously he wants to be positive. However, what he said is, but imagine how many people have died. And he's now literally, it's clearly understandable that the vast majority of people are not medically trained. No one has bothered. And, again, I'm pretty sure that in most armies you're supposed to at least have some combat medics, technically, right? But basically, from the words that he uses, it's notable that the situation with even the training that he gives out for free is dire, and we'll learn why more. That just shows that he wouldn't be screaming if, his valiant efforts, as he believes.
Ребят, мы будем делать еще больше видеопродуктов, если Богу будет угодно, учебных, в том числе наши лекции выпускаем еще. Но вы понимаете, это паллиатив, то есть такая мера, не кардинальная. Кардинальная мера посещения курсов, где тебя опытные инструктора грамотно научат. Слово.
So what he says, of course we'll be making more YouTube videos. I'm going to have to find this channel and do something about it. He says that, but that's a palliative medicine. That's, I think, the one that suppresses pain or symptoms, right?
That's when someone's dying.
When someone's dying, yeah. That's palliative medicine. You need to go to the courses to basically save lives. And he focuses and stresses this very seriously. Which means that if the attendance of the courses would be doing, if it would be widespread, then we'd see otherwise. because he's underplaying the situation in the Russian army. He stated that himself at the beginning, that he has to calm down people because the situation is so horrid with the losses that he's afraid to even talk honestly. They're very much watching their language here. So this is an underplay too. This is why you have to watch these guys who are there on the front lines doing the things.
Я давно не записывал эфиров, во-первых, потому что занят, а во-вторых, потому что думал, что люди существа разумные по логике, и что сами понимают, что в разгар войны надо учить тактическую медицину.
He said that he made a quip about how, yeah, I know I haven't made a lot of videos on my own channel lately. First of all, because I'm busy all the time. And secondly, I thought that people are rational creatures and would themselves understand that they actually need to know some tactical medicine on the front lines if it's a war. And you know what? This might sound surprising, but here I agree with him. Because I actually have gone through courses of tactical medicine. I know what he's talking about. However, you'd be surprised about how many colleagues of mine, and I'm talking about journalists here, how many war correspondents are there without this, and that they're not let anywhere. So that's important. However, journalists are one thing from places that haven't seen war a lot. But that's still a Russian army that we're talking about. He's a volunteer. He's not complaining that there's a lack of it. He's not even complaining. Look, at this point, we've reached the point where he's not complaining that the Russian government isn't providing courses or bandages or training. He's complaining that the people themselves don't do anything because it is obvious that the Russian army won't give you stuff. He's not even mentioning that.
Оказалось, нет. Крайний пример, когда в городе-герое Ленинграде, Санкт-Петербурге на курсы такмеда пришло 6 человек. Ребята.
Okay, yeah, this is important. This is important so you know. I will actually listen to this.
Пример, когда в городе-герое Ленинграде, Санкт-Петербурге на курсы такмеда.
Okay, so in his free classes in St. Petersburg, city hero as he calls Leningrad, to his courses, 6 people arrived. St. Petersburg, I think, had a population of 5 million, by the way. And he's doing this for free. He's a fanatic. Now, ask yourselves the question, are people not going because they don't care about the war? Or are they not going because they avoid the war? Or are they not going because they truly believe the Russian mainstream propaganda that says that they're totally winning and everything's fine? Or all of the above and then some? In a city of 5 million people, where he's very well known, where people are very much internet literate, way more than usual, it's highly unlikely. I mean, if you, like, Rob, if you'd be like sent to war, you'd probably want to know something about the medicine, right? So that alone shows something. Oh yeah, and he, by the way, has in his Yuri channel, he has 38,000 subscribers. Just saying, I want to know the numbers of how big they are because he's doing work he's not posting lately. Roy TV has 50k subscribers. However, the big unit that combines them, the big channel that is the I have to find this on my phone. Oh, they spammed again. I'm gonna check Igor Girkin. Where is Russkaya Община? Let's find them and check the amount that they have together that they cover. Russkaya Движение Girkina. Oh yeah, these guys are 79,000. It's pretty big numbers. And again, note that it's on the front lines over there. Sure, those numbers are split around. They have militias. It's not millions, because again, it's a tiny percentage of these fanaticals, right? But getting just a 6 from all that, it's not a big number. I mean, I can get 6 people in this apartment by a phone call, basically. 6 is you know what 6 is? 6 is when your first grade, when the first grade plays theater, more people arrive for that. And I'm talking Latvian first grade school. This is the first grade theater class where not even parents arrived. And again, he legitimately is competent and provides the best medical service and actual training and actual medkits for the Russian army. Welcome to insanity. This is how we deal with. And he's truly trying to solve the problem. and he's even more frustrated by how Russian government is doing nothing.
Пришло 6 человек. Ребята, вы вообще вменяемые жители Питера и окрестностей.
Guys, people of Petersburg, are you insane? What's going on? Not one of the best lines of this whole episode is going to be.
Один из жителей написал местных: мне типа пофигу, сюда хохлы не доберутся, я в Ленинградской области. Ты больной? Ты забыл, как в годы войны вместе с финнами тогдашние НАТО, немцы, окружили Ленинград, и 800 тысяч человек, 800 тысяч умерло с голоду. Вы не знаете, что сейчас в Финляндии мобилизация, что там массово готовы?
And now he's moving on to the best parts. Also, an answer to Saddle Knife. Yeah, half of those are people like you and me, of course. But not as many as you would think, to be fair. I mean, in Vatnik channels, I understand that half of those people must be followed. No, Western media don't follow these guys. They get it, like, basically from me and from a few other sources. That's it. It's way less than you think because it's only in Russian. If for the most part, it's not as huge as number as you would think. First of all, because it's on Telegram and such, and not many people live inside this war. And secondly, that's the answer to the question why there's a lot of them there. But it's about 1 to 2% of the population in Russia currently, but they're very active and they're building these militias, and everyone else is just being apathetic and doing worse anyways. But what he said is that his reason why everyone must be very interested about this, and then he starts mentioning Finland, about how Finland joined NATO, and now we're getting to the part where we invade Russia.
Oh, right, yeah.
Then again, I like how he starts with the Finns. Yeah, Finns are going to be the most active people who definitely are going to say, Perkele, invade someone. After sauna. You know what's cool, the invasion? Let's have more sauna. Yeah, sauna. Like, out of all the people who would be very aggressively trying to invade someone, picking the Finns is like the worst idea ever. They're the most peace-loving people who just want to sit in their nature, listen to their extreme black metal, and create crazy video games, I suppose, and do other nonsense. But yeah. Oh, also another question. If the Finns are now in NATO and can attack you, can Mr. Yevich please recall in his mind what happened? Why did the Finland join NATO? They were neutral before. What caused this? Rob said fascism, and he's 100% correct.
Население. Реально. Господи, пошли разумения властям, народу и воинству России. Ну реально.
He literally just praised. He literally just prayed, Dear Lord, please send some sensibility to the peoples of Russia and the powers of Russia and all the organization.
Народ такие вещи говорит. Вывод. Ребят, тактическая медицина нужна в нашей стране каждому, только, может, вы этого еще не все понимаете.
He said, conclusion, tactical medicine in our country is necessary for everyone, except you don't understand it yet. Because now we're moving to the big war stuff. Yay, big war.
Во-первых, огромное количество мужчин окажется на фронте сильно быстрее, чем они этого ожидают от себя.
First of all, most of our men, this is where Yevich goes full insane. Most of the country's men will arrive in the front lines earlier than they realize this. Yeah, Evita just arrived home. Honey, you're going to have to read the fairy tale for them after this. See, I told you that was necessary. But now we're gonna enjoy Moryevich.
Да. Причем, помимо тех, кто попадет под мобилизацию, неизбежно будут вторжения вражеских войск на территорию, как под Суджей, и многие попадут в ополчение, то есть вообще без всякой подготовки.
And besides, even more so, those that will be mobilized necessarily, well, they will go into National Guard squads. The English term for militias, I suppose, because there will be more incursions like in Suja and in Kursk. He already predicts that. He says that with utter certainty, by the way.
Без экипировки, без формы, с минимумом оружия. Придется отстаивать родную землю.
And all those militias will be without uniforms, without equipment, without anything, and they will have to somehow defend their homes. Like, I see. The thing is that, you know, he. I see why Putin doesn't like this guy, because he tries to help a lot, But when he speaks about the real situation in the Russian army in such a desperate way, stating that none of the national militias will have any equipment, and he says it's not a what if. It's like, yep, of course they won't have anything, or trading, or something.
Темы. Это первое. Второе. У нас в стране имеется огромная пятая колонна из ранее въехавших граждан Украины. Имеется большое количество граждан Таджикистана, Узбекистана, Казахстана, которые, внимание, эти страны проводят учения вот прямо сейчас в интернете.
Okay, so this is the best part. He also mentions that there's a huge fifth column in Russia. A lot of Ukrainian citizens who live there who are working with the enemy. And now he says that, by the way, in the Soviet era, about 30% of Russians had some relatives in Ukraine, so obviously. But then he mentions Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan, who at this moment, he raises a finger. This is Anglo-Saxon time.
Забейте. Под руководством английских спецслужб. Как вы думаете, против кого они готовятся воевать? Напомню. Да.
Юрий Юрьевич.
This is the moment when Kalashnikov, he said, they are all training under the instructions of British special services. And when he started to become joyful, have you forgotten against whom they're going to fight against? Let me remind you. And again, here is Maxim Kalashnikov back. He's the intellectual in this conversation, and that's not even a joke. He is now going to try to push him back into push away him from the rants. It's going to be great.
Это умным людям ясно.
He said, Maxim Kalashnikov's first response also is great. Oh yeah, all of this is common sense, and every like this is known for, like, smart people know this. Like it's only like the smart people already know this. Skip ahead, please skip.
Больше смотрю на опасность именно гражданской смуты, гражданской войны, но я...
He's mostly afraid of actual civil war, and he should be afraid of civil war, because I still firmly believe that with all this mess, there is going to be one.
Прошу тебя сейчас продолжить именно в прагматичном ключе.
Yeah, this is a great one, honey. Yeah, I wanted you to come here because I need to translate this word for word.
Can't Robert speak?
No, he's not a native. He's not a native speaker. It's just that you need to. You're a linguist. Look at how he expresses emotions and tells Yevich to shut up.
Это умным людям ясно. Я больше смотрю на опасность именно гражданской смуты, гражданской войны.
Definitely.
Но я прошу тебя сейчас продолжить именно в прагматичном ключе. Надо сейчас.
Yeah. So, please fix me if I'm wrong. We're like, yeah, of course. All smart people know this already, and of course, I'm worried about the civil war myself personally too, which is a great threat. But could you please maybe pragmatically move back to the subject matter that we spoke about previously, because that would be nice.
In other words, just don't go batshit insane as you usually do. Dude, please, we are on camera. And do you think...
Yevich doesn't realize...
Yevich doesn't realize he's on camera. No, I think he realizes, but he does not give a fuck. Yeah, exactly, Robert.
He thinks it's audio only. Not kidding.
It's what?
Yevich thinks it's audio only.
Audio only. No, well, he said what he said anyway, and he doesn't give a fuck. He's so far gone. But Kalashnikov actually tries to save the situation, save their hide, so to speak. But do you think Kalashnikov realizes that they could also follow Girkin into the jail?
Yevich doesn't care. Kalashnikov knows. Again, this is the whole mess, because see, after the previous interviews that I've also streamed here, right? There was a situation where they tried to speak about philosophy and history and smart things, but Yevich always moves on to genocides, to purges, to radicalism, all this stuff, and then Kalashnikov always pushes him back. And at this point, Yevich had a subject, tactical medicine. He had a strict thing to show like latest developments. What does Yevich do instantly? Conspiracy theories galore. 10,000 tomahawks in the air. And this is the problem, because Maxim Kalashnikov, you see, he generally tries to be an intellectual. the problem is that he's not that smart, but he's surrounded by even larger people who are just larger stupid people who just do this. But they're effective at this, and again, that's the one thing that I can't understand here, because I know Ramzan Kadyrov, he's a total dum-dum. But this guy, this Yevich guy, he has actual papers. He's actually saved people. He's a legitimate doctor. Well, I guess insanity just isn't as important as one might think.
Надо проходить, естественно, эти курсы. Вот. Сейчас без Тахмеда воевать просто-напросто невозможно. Вот. Чем сейчас, в общем-то, какими будут твои ближайшие курсы? И прежние, и новые?
Супер. Итак, дорогой мой, значит, первый курс, ближайший, который, один из ближайших курсов, которые будут ниже, это наш базовый курс по тактической медицине. Как я уже сказал, он трехдневный всего, пятница, суббота, воскресенье. На этих курсах отрабатываются первые 2 дня медицинские аспекты, то есть остановка кровотечения, обезболивание, иммобилизация поврежденных конечностей, компенсация кровопотери, терморегуляции, все остальное, что нужно для спасения жизни тяжело раненого и обеспечения его эвакуации. А 3-й день все отрабатывается в условиях, имитирующих боевые действия, чтобы у человека все сложилось в единое.
Now he's just going through the day-by-day basis. First day is like intros and legal stuff and basic training. Second day is all dedicated. Second day is to heavily wounded, saving their lives in the immediate situation with losses of arms and legs. And the third day is and I don't know how they're going to achieve this, but check this out. Practice in a situation that is as close to real life as possible. I'm pretty sure they're going to be shot over their heads or something.
Единую схему работы. Это наш базовый курс. Самый старый, визитная карточка. Он постоянно обновляется по результатам боевых действий. И сейчас он является самым основным. Если ты его не прошел, то у тебя зияющий пробел. Понимаете, можно пытаться изучить тригонометрию, не зная арифметики, можно, но получится плачевно. То есть этот базовый курс, как говорится...
He compares his course to like also the basic stuff that... Okay, you're messing up the stuff. Robert is talking to Evita and that interferes with me. Sorry, guys. What he basically stated is that his courses will give you all this knowledge, but you also should read his books and do the previous stuff, because another nice little tangent, you can learn trigonometry without learning arithmetics, but that would lead to a bad result. If someone has done that, that would be pretty nice.
Must have, должен каждый. Однако...
He said a word in English. He said must have. Look, I'm not lying.
Пытаться изучить тригонометрию, не зная арифметики, можно, но получится плачевно. То есть этот базовый курс, как говорится, must have, должен каждый. Однако не хлебом единым, к счастью, жив человек, и у нас Бог посылает.
However, this is Yuri Yevich we're talking about. He gave an answer to this question, right? Yuri Yevich gave an answer to this question. He was reasonable for 3 seconds. You'll understand from the sentence here. However, it's not just the physical bread that a human lives by. God has sent us to, and now I'll continue.
Очень толковых, энергичных ребят, инструкторов, которые развивают тему. Один из них доктор-реаниматолог.
Yeah, now he's actually talking about the stuff that he's got in a really talented team. And let me just shock you here. One of the people giving these courses is a PhD doctor, an MD, I suppose. It's an MD. PhD is like other studies. MD. One's an MD, a reanimatolog, like the reanimation specialist. Yeah, he's an MD. They have actual MDs working with more experience and academical degrees doing this. Yeah. It just, again, stuns my mind.
Невролог, заслуженный специалист, который имеет опыт участия в СВО многолетней КТО, а также он создатель идей отдельных медицинских отрядов усиления. То есть приезжают врачи куда-нибудь, например, под Курск, где полный звездец, и с помощью местного населения быстро создают медицинские пункты, где раненые получают самую комплексную помощь, стабилизацию, даже массовую, и дальнейшую эвакуацию.
Russian
Плюс
to
он
win,
имеет
he truly,
большой
because
опыт
he's not lying when he
подготовки
says he's got the best
медперсонала
stuff that
из
can save
людей
people's
без
lives.
медобразования,
It's just that he's not
включая
advertised because he's a
инструкторов,
kid.
командиров медроты,
And that's
начальников
good for all of us
медицинских
who,
служб.
you
Ну
know,
а что
don't want
делать?
Russia to win.
Когда не хватает подготовленных специалистов заранее, приходится быстро готовить из тех, кто есть. Очень грамотная речь у человека, очень понятная манера подачи информации.
He's now praising his instructor, stating that
от него
this
есть
guy actually
целых
also
3
talks like a
интересных
normal human
курса.
being, very
Первый
understandable,
двухдневный
very
курс
clear.
помощник медика. То есть человека учат работе именно вот в таких условиях. Вот началось вторжение или массовые обстрелы какой-то местности. Множество пострадавших.
Two scenarios are, as he said, very realistic and close to life. An invasion has begun in our country, or there's a mass shooting with tons of casualties.
Как создать медицинский пункт где-то в городе и как в нем наладить работу? Первый день. Значит, основы оценки состояния раненых и мониторинга, то есть контроля его состояния в процессе. Учатся точно определять, отслеживать жизненно важные показатели организма, обучаемые, используя как профессиональные инструменты, так и подручные средства. Осваивают последовательность осмотра пациента в критическом состоянии, выявляют неочевидные причины резкого ухудшения здоровья, угрожающие жизни. Второе. Стратегия оказания помощи и эвакуации. Учатся комплексно оценивать тяжесть состояния пострадавшего, определять причины ухудшения на основе клинических данных, владеют методами базовой и расширенной сортировки пациентов и разбирают определение приоритетов при медицинской эвакуации, учатся готовить к эвакуации и сопровождать. Оба дня в интенсивном формате обучения, имитация боевых действий, разбор реальных клинических задач, сложных случаев. У человека развиваются лидерские способности, умение эффективно работать в ситуации, управлять ею. Ну, и работать с людьми, находящимися на грани жизни и смерти.
Look, if he wasn't a true believer in this cause,
кажется,
I would say, okay, sign me up. I want to sell Venmo too,
имя этого человека.
or whatever it was.
Это Мухаржан.
Venmo, that was the energy drink.
Он же красавчик по позывному. Прекрасный таджикский
Look at
наш
Kalashnikov now.
таджик, да.
He's now
Я
happy.
таджик,
Good. Yevich is not interested.
Вы его знаете, да, дорогой мой? Я так
Я
понял.
его слышал выступление, да.
And then they're now talking about a certain
Он
Tajik person
красавчик,
who's in
он
the whole
реально
situation.
красавчик. Второй
This
курс
is
его
this is
же
that we're not racist, that is the
катетеризация
Tajik economics
периферических
part.
вен и постановка капельниц. Значит, этот курс от него же. И я хотел бы сказать,
And then
что в
his third
условиях
course,
боевых
he advertised,
действий
which is interesting because it's specifically
функция
separated, and I don't know, I can't really analyze that one, but
ключевых навыков
he
оказания первой
specifically wants
помощи.
to make a course
При
on
этом, в
doing the
условиях боевых
intravenous stuff.
действий, когда ты
How
находишься под
to add
обстрелом,
the
когда ресурсы ограничены,
IVs,
время
basically.
ограничено, а
Proper
вены
care of
страдают от
IVs.
кровопотери, сделать все это
I-
тем более
I'm pretty sure
сложно.
someone with a medical education
Именно
could
этот
make
навык
it.
позволяет вводить препараты, корректировать баланс водно-электролитный, обеспечивать продолжительное медикаментозное лечение. В условиях ограниченного доступа к квалифицированной медицинской
You know why
помощи.
this is important? Why
Более
this is
того,
actually a separate
глубокое
course, not just a
понимание
part of some
принципа
other course.
венозного доступа
Rob,
открывает возможности для
remember
проведения
what,
более
what,
широкого
what,
спектра
how was this?
медицинских
Those
вмешательств.
two
То
guys,
есть
Ernest and
это
Goodwin, who
очень
said
важный
that.
навык.
Yeah,
и
they're
ведь
just
без
selling
сомнения
so many drugs in
ключевой,
the front line, they
что
have
на
tons of
курсе
overdoses.
дается. Юридические
And that's how you deal with
тонкости,
them.
правовые аспекты выполнения
Yeah,
инъекций,
it's same from Afghan days.
безопасность
It's probably that.
процесса показания,
I mean,
противопоказания,
also blood
профилактика
poisoning, yeah.
осложнений, личная безопасность, оказывающая
it must be a
помощь
serious
средств
enough
индивидуальной
problem
защиты,
specifically
сердце и
that-
сосуды, анатомия и физиология их, экстренный сосудистый доступ, мастерство катетеризации, нюансы и лайфхаки постановки
Mastery of
сосудистого катетера,
catheterization.
инфузионная
Additional
терапия.
thing.
Разбираемся в растворах, а то многие, кроме физраствора, ничего и не знают, включая, Господи,
he made a
помилуй
joke.
меня, грешного
We,
иногда. И организация
what's
работы,
the IV
эффективной
thing,
укладки
the
и
liquid?
адаптация аптечек. Значит,
Yeah.
вот такой курс,
He made
буквально
a joke that
однодневный,
we're gonna learn all those
в
mixes
реальных
because most people
условиях это
don't know
большие
anything about the
шансы на
default
спасение
physiological
именно
one.
тех раненых, кого сразу эвакуировать не получается. Следующий момент. Дыхательный менеджмент, то есть поддержка дыхания. Ребята, ну я думаю, даже люди без медобразования понимают, не дышишь равно умер.
What?
Соответственно, разработан
solution,
им
yeah.
же отдельный курс
He also speaks
управления
about
дыханием.
the-
Это критически важный
how to
процесс,
ensure-
включающий контроль
Yeah,
и при
specific
необходимости
attention is
замещение
paid to
дыхания у
all
раненых
the
и
soldiers who
пострадавших.
will not be
Играет
evacuated
первостепенную
for
роль в
some reason,
сердечно-легочной реанимации,
like in near enough
анестезиологии,
time,
реаниматологии,
talking about how
неотложной
to prolong
медицинской
their lives
помощи,
in the field.
интенсивной терапии при оказании первой неотложной помощи.
Also,
Соответственно, на
all the
курсе
issues with
даются
breathing.
практические навыки в области дыхательной
Well,
системы,
Yeah,
анатомии и
he's dedicating a whole
физиологии
chapter to
дыхательной
various
системы,
lung diseases. Which
методы
makes sense because
определения
if you're sitting in
функционального
this,
состояния
remember the pipe
дыхания,
operation where they
выявление
climbed like what,
устранения
60
причин
kilometers through this gas
нарушений
pipe?
дыхания, обеспечение и контроль проходимости
It's like really-
дыхательных путей,
Those things should
санация
be
и очистка
inside of a more
дыхательных
general
путей
course,
с использованием
but they must be important if they're
и
not,
специального
so we have
оборудования
to
и без
sort of make a
него,
guess about
защита
this.
дыхательных путей и способы поддержания
But he's not reading from the paper.
адекватного
When the green
дыхания.
tint disappears from
Вот
his eyes, they will
такие
be back.
сверхнасыщенные курсы. Для тех, кому, может, покажется, что как-то сильно, быстро и много учат, могу только напомнить, что есть два
Each of these courses
правила.
last days.
Первое, значит, учитель – это не тот, кто учит, а тот, у кого можно научиться. То есть, если человек очень сильно
He's not spewing
хочет,
philosophy.
он научиться
Basically,
сможет. Был
to
бы
those who
хороший
would think this is too
преподаватель, и было бы
intensive,
его
let me
желание.
remind you
А второе,
that the
есть
teacher is not
известнейший
the
отечественный
one
специалист военного
with
дела
whom you can
Александр
learn, but the
Валентинович
one who can
Мусиенко.
teach you. Like,
Ему
he's
принадлежит
starting
гениальная
self-help
фраза
nonsense,
«Дайте мне
basically.
человека, который хочет, и я за неделю сделаю из него спецназовца». Неделя не неделя, но принцип понятен. Если ты знаешь, чему нужно людей учить, знаешь, как учить, и ты хочешь, и человек
he claims
хочет,
that he can do all
научить
this
можно
quality training
критическим
in a week.
моментам. Важно, быстро. А
Actually, I
остальные
think he
моменты он
could,
уже в
but-
практике доучится. Значит, есть такая фраза. Ученик – это не сосуд, который нужно наполнить, а факел, который нужно зажечь.
And now we switched over back to the crazy side because he stopped, took a break, and then he stated, "You know what? The student is not like an empty vessel to be filled, but a torch to be lit on fire."
А чтобы зажечь других, нужно
Video
греть
lags
самому.
are there.
Так, ну и есть еще двухдневный курс от еще одного нашего инструктора.
we'll be done with the course advertising.
Первичная хирургическая
This
обработка
doesn't
и
mean it's gonna be over.
стабилизация экстренных
You can't
состояний.
get through
Дорогие
this
мои,
as easily.
я раньше, еще недавно, очень скептически относился к обучению людей первичной хирургической обработки. Всегда говорил, что лучше отвезти в госпиталь. Почему? На том этапе...
And this is important. This is a key point why I'm watching this stuff. He said that there's a 2-day course about the primary surgical work on people. What's primary surgical work? Well, thank you, Grandma. That's chopping people's limbs off. Amputations. You have to prepare stuff for that. He said that he was very skeptical about that being done in field work. But he now has a special 2-day course related to what he calls primary surgical stuff. In wartime, realistically, yeah, that's preparing you for surgery. What's the most frequent surgery there? Obviously, it's amputations. All this stuff. As this guy tells me, and he's all over the place. He's in Kursk. He teaches those things. He makes them. Yeah, it sort of shows, like he said, that right now the wounded are getting more heavily wounded, and again, wounded versus dead is much higher. That you need to have a 2-day course for that too.
Развитие транспорта и средств поражения было таково, что мы могли успешно раненых эвакуировать. Мы это делали, их оперировали в госпиталях. Однако война не стоит на месте.
Yeah, he said that earlier the tactical situation and the whole technological advancement was such that he said don't do surgery, that this was possible to get the soldiers to the hospital. Right now the situation has changed, so yeah, the pre-surgery stuff. Then again, think about this. What can they do? Okay, this might also involve, you might think it's like from the movies pulling out the bullet. Pro tips, you shouldn't pull out the bullet. It probably holds some blood vessel close up. What we're talking about here is mostly amputations because it's you saw all the dirt and everything. And again, this guy is much more competent than the Russian army.
И современное развитие средств поражения такое сильное, что раненые нередко находятся на передовых позициях очень долго. В этих условиях раны придется хирургически обрабатывать непосредственно там же.
I like how he put it. How he put it by not blaming the Russian government. in today's technological advancement, the situation is such that the wounded stay, at least he's talking about his side, stay over there on the battlefield for such a long time that a surgical work must be done in the field conditions. Again, what tools do they have?
На поле боя. Разумеется, дорогие мои, это плачевно, но я хотел бы всем напомнить, что так было всегда. Если вы почитаете историю...
Also, he adds, well, my dears, of course, this is sad, but I want to remind you that this has always been the case. Why? Because, always been the case. There's a saying in Russian, никогда хорошо не жили. You know that one. What was that one? Nedzīvojot labi un tagad nav ko sākt.
Никогда хорошо не жили и нечего теперь начинать.
It means you never lived nicely, don't start now. Да, вариант.
Русско-японской войны, а до нее наполеоновских войн, то каждый раз было примерно одно и то же. Военное дело, оружие и организационные формы его применения, тактика, делали большой шаг вперед. Медицина оставалась на прежних позициях, и когда начиналась война, оказывалось, что значительное количество раненых просто невозможно эвакуировать, потому что убьют и их, и тех, кто их эвакуирует. В начале больших войн это всегда бывал такой процесс, так что в этом плане, к сожалению, опять повторяется хорошо известная история, и пока она не исправлена, значительный объем медпомощи нужно выносить на передок поближе к раненым. Так вот, значит, этот курс, который у Луны уже не первый день, курс, не первый год, извините, оговорочка по Фрейду, курс двухдневный, первый день теоретические основы и неотложная помощь, первый день закладывания фундаментальных знаний и освоения базовых навыков, необходимых для стабилизации пострадавших в экстренных ситуациях. Рассматривается анатомия и физиология человека, ключевые системы, принципы функционирования организма и методы их оценки, дается повязки, десмургия, общее понимание об инфузионной терапии, оценка состояния пострадавшего, меры оказания помощи и применение препаратов, какие могут быть препараты. То есть первый день второй день практика первичной хирургической обработки ран ПХО. Вот мы, собственно, к ним и приходим. Значит, во второй день виды травм. Рассматриваются виды травм военных и гражданских. Более углубленно рассматриваются травм и ранений. Более углубленно рассматриваются повязки. Дальше. Оценивается рана и принятие решений, насколько ее обрабатывать, в какой степени, как, когда, чем. Материальное обеспечение. Предметы, препараты, материалы, какие бывают для обработки ран, хирургические инструменты. И потом отрабатывается иссечение нежизнеспособных тканей, очистка раны, дренирование, постановка дренажей, промывание, наложение швов.
Okay, honey, I need those terms because they're specific. Дренирование. That's when they take the liquid out of wounds.
I think yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're just focusing here because, again, if he focuses on this stuff, then that's the most common things. I just want to know what they're supposed to do.
Напоминаю, наглухо большинство огнестрельных ран ни в коем случае не зашивается, потому что внутри начнет гнить, все развалится, сгниет. Наводящий швы стягиваем края раны, но оставляем место для отпока, нежизнеспособных тканей для промывания, для последующих обработок ран, а стягиваем, чтобы быстрее заживало. Все отрабатывается на биоматериале, то есть люди тренируются, как ушивать раны, в том числе в полевых условиях.
Okay, that was interesting. He said a bunch of these procedures that they're making, and then he said, all this is worked on biomaterial. Pigskin? Honey, in normal countries I would say pigskin, yeah, but biomaterial, therefore they're learning how to do this. The situation must be really dire.
Вот основные наши курсы. Я хотел бы всем напомнить, что если кто-то рассматривает для себя перспективу работы в качестве тактического медика на фронте, то базовый курс наш является главным, но сам по себе не окончательным
Yeah, he's not
для
specifying if you want to be a medic on
медика
battlefield.
обязательно нужно
on
пройти
field.
все вышеперечисленные
Which courses you
курсы.
do?
Всего совокупно это всего-навсего 9 дней. Подумайте, сколько дней нашей жизни мы тратим на всякую
Yeah, and
фигню.
in total, by the
Я
way,
думаю, вы
all
сами
the
поймете,
courses
что
that if you want to be a
это будет
tactical medic with
рациональное
his
очень
squad and
вложение
go
вашего
around,
времени
you have
и
to spend
сил.
9 days studying this stuff. 9 days.
Более чем рациональное, дорогие мои.
A Russian soldier
Потому
from zero,
что,
like
когда
a
ты
guy that
окажешься на
signs a contract,
фронте, там всему
gets
этому
sent
учиться уже
like in
невозможно.
total
На фронте
12
учить очень
days,
тяжело,
and
ребята.
that's including all the training.
Нужны подготовленные инструктора, нужно оборудование и нужны условия. Противник бьет ракетами на десятки километров, в одном месте толпу народу никто не соберет. Поэтому учиться нужно заранее.
Yeah,
Я
he's now
говорю
stating
вроде
that
очевидные
he's
вещи,
gathered
но, возможно, для
materials for
многих
all the supplies
наших
and
они
everything.
не очевидны. Так вот, эти 9 дней пройдя,
He's not
ты становишься более-менее полноценным по современным условиям тактическим медиком. Я так осторожно говорю потому, что по-хорошему надо людей готовить, конечно, еще бы дольше.
But he's
Однако,
stating that, you know,
не
that
всегда
after these 9
имеется
days,
такая
you
возможность,
will
прежде
be at
всего,
least
самих
barely
обучаем.
competent
Значит,
tactical
это
medic.
курсы наши,
Of course, it's
тактической
going to take a
медицины,
longer time,
технологии
seriously, but
выживания,
yeah.
наш проект
The
гражданский.
situation
И
is that
напоминаю, что есть
these
еще
courses are
проект «Отряд Т».
way more advanced than
Там
anything
работают
from
все
else.
наши инструктора из отряда с боевым опытом, командование, полигон, все от нашего отряда Т. Там готовятся люди к боевым действиям уже серьезно, там подготовка включает месяцы, зато на выходе ты являешься специалистом, которого с руками оторвут в самых лучших подразделениях. Слава Богу за все. Ссылочки на все эти методики подготовки и у нас в Москве технологии выживания тактическая медицина и в рамках отряда Т приотачены будут к этому видео. Дорогой мой, я их вам уже сбросил, эти ссылки.
Да, Юрий Юрьевич, я их принял. Вот, слушая Юрия Юрьевича, посоветую вам прочесть воспоминания Викентия Вересаева, военного врача на русско-японской войне. Поразитесь, сколько параллелей с нынешней войной, и увидите правоту слов Юрия Юрьевича. Я надеюсь, когда-нибудь я увижу и воспоминания Юрия Юрьевича о войне этой тоже, так сказать, честная. Могу сказать, что изучил, прослушал воспоминания и вермахта, и бойцов Waffen-СС, особенно про Курскую битву. Была та же проблема. По 2-3 дня они не могли...
Okay, and this is the fanatical part. Rob, are you there? Okay, guys, you're gonna love this one. Yeah, you know, our total situation reminds me of how of the situation of the Waffen SS guys, how they in Kursk battle also were, you know, forced to not evacuate their troops. Like he compares Russian army to Blitzkrieg. He uses things. Now he's directly compared them to Waffen. Not to SA, not to the regular army units. Waffen SA were the regular army units. Waffen SS.
I mean, is he wrong?
I mean,
Is he wrong?
they had nicer uniforms.
Yes, they do.
They had proper equipment too, but like.
Вывести людей
But like,
тоже
for a
была
person that's
огромная
fighting against
проблема.
Nazism, he compares.
Вот, потом был Вьетнам, тоже
themselves to
слушал
Nazis.
воспоминания. Там была эвакуация с помощью вертолетов. Но сейчас такой радости у нас нет.
Okay, Maxim Kalashnikov didn't have a lot to say, so now he's showing I'm also smart moves here.
Слов Юрия Юрьевича только, так сказать, она только возрастает. Что такое такмед сегодня и зачем он нужен? Так что, друзья мои, советую еще раз
everyone got to know, on their side, everyone got to know that they're screwed. We got to know what are the biggest casualties and basically confirmed.
Дорогой мой, мы с вами на редкость...
Oh. And here Maxim Kalashnikov made a fatal mistake. Look, there's still a couple of minutes remaining. He said like, oh yeah, so these courses are important. We can look back at history. Everything's fine. Blah, blah, blah. Well, Yuri, have we forgotten something? And then look at Yuri's eager face. He finally can do something that's not reading from the script.
Компактное такое, насыщенное, мощное сделали эфир. В довершение я людям напоминаю, ребята.
I will now. We made a really powerful video today, but I will remind the people, all watching people, of this today.
Первое. Если вы думаете, что мобилизации не будет, это одна из самых больших ошибок, какая может быть, по простой причине. На нас четко напали уже 52 страны мира.
There we go. Rob, you missed this one. Listen. Look, Rob, Maxim Kalashnikov, they wrapped it up. He read his text, but then Maxim Kalashnikov made a fatal mistake. He said, okay, have you forgotten something, Yuri?
Сделали эфир. В довершение я людям напоминаю, ребята. Первое. Если вы думаете, что мобилизации не будет, это одна из самых больших ошибок, какая может быть, по простой причине. На нас четко напали.
To us, they're preparing to attack. No, actually, on us, we were assaulted, we were attacked by 52 countries already.
Уже 52 страны мира. Украина это только первое поле боя, нападут отовсюду.
Ukraine is only the first battlefield that's going to explode everywhere. Yes, 52 countries have already attacked Russia.
Attack from all the places.
From all the places everywhere. Of course, it's going to be everywhere.
Внутри страны огромное количество их засланцев. В этих условиях отбиться.
And there's a huge amount of fifth columnists and like internal traitors inside, and in these circumstances, beating them off.
Теми силами, которые есть сейчас, напомню, ранее мобилизованы уже 2 года на фронте без смены
And then he does the thing for which Gerkel went to prison. He said, if you think it's easy, then let me remind you that the mobilized for the first wave, mobilization of September 2022, well, they're already for how many years on the front without rotation? Oopsie, shouldn't have said that one. He said the quiet part out loud.
Соответственно, многие из них, мягко говоря, офигевают, а контрактники еще...
And he said, and many of them, well, to put it mildly, are офигевают, like, they're fucked over in the head. They're angry, I suppose.
Больше воюют. Только воевать без отдыха просто нельзя. Поэтому только вопрос времени, когда огромное количество.
And it's like they are so tired, they're so exhausted that it's literally becoming physically impossible for them to carry on fighting. Therefore, and there he makes the fatal mistake because he presumes Putin's actually going to do something and it's not going to end up as a civil war. Therefore,
получит повестки.
Therefore, it's only a matter of time until everyone gets their mobilization slip and will have to join the army to fight in this mega war, which is ongoing by his ideas. The problem is Putin's never going to do that, and then he's going to be disappointed. And I really look. I can't wait the day when he finally has to actually admit some facts and reality.
Первое. Второе. Когда огромное количество получит повестки, готовить вас будет некогда.
Second, when most of you, and now imagine this is how he speaks about mobilization in the Russian army. Second, when all of you will get your slips to go and to fight for the army, there will be no one to train you and no time too. So start training today.
Very optimistic, isn't it?
I mean, to him, that's perfectly normal. Obviously, no one's going to train any mobilized people. What?
I mean, honestly,
Honestly, yeah. Honestly, yeah. But this is the part where, like, normal armies would be worried about the fact that we will have a bunch of mobilized and no one will train them. But no, it's a given, obviously. So he's fixing it all.
У нас была такая фигня. Я говорил, готовьтесь. Нет. Как началась мобилизация, люди по 200 человек на курс сразу приходили. Ребят,
Yeah, and he now says that just before mobilization, like, you remember he got like 6 people in St. Petersburg on these courses, but just as mobilization hit, he got like 200 in them. And he is doing them for free, just for donations, for buying more stuff. Like I said, those couple of % of fanatics, they pull their weight.
Как ни старайся, во-первых, всех не успеешь подготовить, во-вторых, качество подготовки вашей будет сильно страдать, даже если вы успеете к нам на курсы. Третье.
And he says that no one will have the time to train you because we will all be at war. And the quality of your training will also be lacking. So you should prepare today.
Многие не успеют и попадут просто на фронт. Четвертое. В таких условиях массового, большого количества людей будет и недостатка инструкторов, и недостаток времени, и недостаток полигонов. Короче говоря.
The fourth point was great. Of course, after mobilization, we will have a total lack of instructors, total lack of facilities, total lack of equipment. I mean, that's the thing. Imagine any, not even a NATO army. Just imagine an army where someone who's intimately familiar with the situation just says as a given that no, buy everything. Like, there will be no equipment. There will be no training. there's a question like, why would you want to fight for an army that's going to recruit you, and they're not going to give you stuff. You're not going to be trained. You'll be sent to me. This is the duality of this thing. They're doing this again. Listen to my previous ones, because to them the current Russia with Putin, the administrative thing is not the important part. To them, they're doing this because it's literally a holy war for these people. They're much like ISIS. To them, Russia is a religious concept, and this drives them onwards no matter what, because you have to. Why would you fight? No normal person would. Well, you would if you would believe that that's all that's good and sacred in the world, because you've been told that for centuries, basically. And that's we had a theory with Evita that if you look at the economical situation in Russia, it worsens every day. The situation, like, people are there. Every car factory already is working for a 4-day work week, because they can't sell the there are massive issues.
This is not a progressive.
No. This is that's no one also cares about rights, though. Yeah, Rob. The situation is that I guess those people who, again, it all stems from the problem that they have culturally. This is a cultural thing where admitting that you're wrong is seen as something horrible. So this is what happens when you delude yourself further and further on, because, I mean, you have to be somehow better than the other side, right? You have to dehumanize the other. Well, if you live in Russia and you try to, tell yourself that you're still the good guys, then, oh boy, you sort of just... I mean, look at how deluded you... Like, if a country wants... Like, I remember the guy in Germany, there was this book that the guy wrote saying, why I won't fight for my country. Like, if I'll be attacked, I'll probably run away, all this stuff. The German guy would be given all equipment, training, warm food, proper stuff, access to medical facilities, all this. He doesn't want to fight. These crazy bastards, right? They know they won't be given any of that stuff. I mean, how else?
Shooting them in the backs.
Yeah, other people shooting them in the backs. This is just so bizarre. It's just that they have to do this, I presume, because of this weird imperialism. It's a bizarre thing from propaganda perspective, and I really want to put this in my PhD, because otherwise there is no rational reason. Because for one, I understood that caring about yourself, your well-being, your economical situation is literally it's a sin. It goes against the Mother Russia. It goes against this imperial plan. You care about yourself more than you care about the empire. The idea that someone might not want to, like, not even the idea that someone might not want to join the army. The idea that someone might want to say, hey guys, maybe it's kind of not normal that we should join the army that we know is not going to train us at all, and that there's going to be no staff and no facilities. Yeah, that's not to be asked. Oh, and also pro tip, which is another thing that's interesting. Soviet Union did have equipment and facilities and all this stuff. A lot. Again, I just always find it fascinating when I discovered the Soviet Union was actually a more functional state than whatever this is.
Кто не подготовится заранее?
Look, and again, sorry again for using this, but I think Mexican cartels train their soldiers better and equip them better too.
Даже при самом благоприятном раскладе ситуации для себя получат подготовку очень далекую от идеальной. А на войне, ребята, кажется, что бывают оценки 5, 4, 3, 2. Бывает ровно 2. Сдал, не сдал. Не сдал — это пуля противника, и все, тебя похоронили. Вот, в принципе, все. Соответственно, чуть-чуть не готов. Оно не чуть-чуть, оно просто не готов. Ну и, наконец, следующий момент. Я хотел бы вообще всем, без исключения, жителям нашей страны...
Okay. Now we get to the final part, the best one. He went through why you need to do some preparation because it's important, and his final statement is, and finally, I would like to remind to every citizen of our country. I haven't watched this until the end. It's going to be written.
Женщинам, детям, старикам.
Women, kids, elderly people.
Напомнить.
Remind them.
Что, во-первых, в тылу придется поддерживать порядок.
First of all, in the rear, there's going to be in the rear, you're going to have to keep everything in order.
Не давать активизироваться мародерам.
You're going to have to stop the marauders. Because obviously, this is Russia. Of course there's going to be marauders. Military police? Oh no, military police are doing the marauding, literally. They are the marauders too. That's the stuff that would be brought in court. Like, he's telling women and children and elderly of the country to guard against people who will maraud them. Because they will. There is no other option. This is not a wish. This is not like, what if we do if they come? It's like, now you're going to have to fight against when they come, obviously.
Диверсантам, пятой колонне,
They're also going to have to stop saboteurs and the fifth column and everyone who tries like...
мигрантам. Во-вторых,
And the immigrants too.
Can't
Saboteurs, marauders, immigrants. Look, I have a little like this is a funny thing, you know. Maybe like just a thought. Just a thought. Hear me out, guys. Hear me out. Like, if you don't want to import immigrants to work in your country because you lack workforce, hear me out. Hear me out. How about not sending over 1 million of your working age men to die?
No, that's a horrible idea.
I mean,
Definitely do that.
okay, I thought.
No,
I mean,
if you send 1 million Russians, ethnic Russians, to the front, and they
Yeah.
will die, 5 million new, fresh Russians spawn out of nowhere.
of course, yeah. The thing is that it's gone so bad that Pavel Guberev, the first actually elected governor of Donetsk, the first one who was like with Girkin, he now openly states that this whole operation is just a cleansing of patriotic Russian men so that Putin could keep power longer. They now have conspiracy theories of that too. And you know what? It's the most sane one I've heard for a long while.
когда начнется следующая фаза НАТО,
When the next phase of NATO will begin. No, that's a literal one. When the next phase of NATO will begin, not the war.
будут как по Югославии бить, как по
They will beat us like Yugoslavia. They never beat Yugoslavia.
Ираку.
How they beat
И
Iraq.
баллистические ракеты полетят, и
And the ballistic missiles will fly.
бомбы, и
And
томагавки
bombs.
пачками.
And tomahawks.
А беспилотники уже летят в каждый город практически, бывает. Вот недавно по Перми ударили, пишут, первый раз. Ну, поздравляю всех, только начало. Вывод.
Well, you are afraid about like the things that are being hit now. Well, congratulations. This is just the first strike. See, this is the idea. They don't. It's not like this is why all talks of NATO escalation are just stupid. Because remember, this guy interacts with people on the front lines, and they're like, if you have a bunch of soldiers, right, on the front lines who are now suffering under the commanders, among them, obviously, the leaders will be people who follow this guy, and you can know those guys because they're the activists. They're the central ones. On the front lines in Ukraine, no one thinks that there is, like, no one thinks, oh, what if Putin escalates? What if NATO escalates? They already say that it's happening 100%, that they have already been attacked by 52 countries. Remember that one. Therefore, again, all the arguments that, not striking down NATO planes over our airspace, yeah, that's just so that it would be an excuse so that Putin could escalate. Yeah, how far Putin could escalate this without nukes? What else? Putin doesn't even have to do official propaganda. This is the news that the soldiers in the front line read all the time. They are the most active, interested ones.
Обязательно нужно уметь оказать помощь себе и окружающим, прежде всего своим близким. Потому что
Everyone needs to know how
при повреждении плечевой
And now he moves on to specifics. Why? Why do you need to know all this?
артерии человек может истечь кровью за 1,5 минуты.
Because in this I didn't know, by the way. He just said, check his medical knowledge. He said that if you get wounded in the shoulder, then you can bleed out in 1.5 minutes.
Maybe he was thinking about your armpit.
He said a shot wound in here on the video.
Бедренной за 40 секунд.
What is бедренный?
Hip.
Oh, your hip.
Если не умеете быстро, качественно оказать медицинскую помощь, то ни одна скорая за это время не доедет. Вывод. Спасение утопающих – дело рук самих утопающих.
His conclusion is a very famous phrase from the Russian language. The help for those who are drowning is in the hands of those who are drowning themselves.
За нас нашу работу никто не сделает, и медицина является главнейшим.
No one but us will do this work. Again, question. Sorry, but how about the army organization? How about the state?
No.
He literally says that no one else is gonna teach you. No one else is gonna do.
He's
also right.
In that,
Yeah, but like,
sense.
this idea is that he says this, and he's just
Навыком выживания на войне и победы, потому что медицинская помощь раненым, пострадавшим, травмированным – это самая основная проблема, с которой сталкиваются все. Вы можете не быть оператором БПЛА, оператором РЭП,
Yeah,
вы
but
можете никогда
this
не
is super
посадить в
important
пулемет,
because
вы много чего
everyone is
можете
facing
не
this, and it's
сделать
the
на
most
войне.
important
Но
aspect of the whole
медицинскую
war.
помощь оказывать вам придется обязательно.
But
Будь вы
someone you will have to give me first time.
Внимание. Вот, говорится, не прощаюсь надолго. Ребята, подписывайтесь
Happy
и на
Gürgen. Now he
ресурсы
asked me to
Юрия Юрьевича,
subscribe.
ссылки в описании, изучайте их.
Okay, I have another
Подписывайтесь
video
на
that I want to
наш
show
Рой
you.
ТВ.
But now, to take a break from...
Another video.
This was just 40 minutes long.
Oh my god.
Honey, for a small break, I will... See, the thing is, I pulled Evita here because, well, due to our technical troubles, Evita hasn't managed to read, for patrons, our fairy tale. So, as I mentioned in the show description... Yes, you please do. You have to. I mentioned it to the people.
Also, if you hit a major artery, then
Yeah, major artery.
it can go. You can die from blood loss in 2 to 5 minutes.
Honey, pick up the book and do read one of the fairy tales. I really need to take a break now. Also, everyone watching, yeah, we really need some actual breaks and everything because, yeah, you know, this is what I do. I sit down there and through their insanity, you have to analyze all this stuff. But yeah, I have another one to show you, which is not gonna be it's not gonna be Maxim Kalashnikov, by the way. I promise. You're gonna see Evita while doing this. No worries. I wanted to find we have an economy video, but not that one. This is right. What are we showing on the screen? Is this right? Yeah, this is right. They have. Oh, this is a video that I'll be watching, but he invited a political expert, and this video is called "Why the hell do we need Western right-wing marginals?" Yeah. These guys don't like Western right-wingers. But yeah, a short break now, and then I will be back. I just have to figure out the scene here is, I guess, number 1. No. Let's restart the video capture then. How do we... And add... Don't worry, video is going to be back very soon. I know, my beloved wife, that you do not like this, but I must make you do this thing so that you can know how that's not horrible. We did this intentionally.
I just wanted to have my food, but you will make me read.
It's good for you, honey. No, really, it's actually gonna be nice. To be honest, we do need a break from this because otherwise I myself am gonna be a bit depressed because this is how I do the analysis. I hope I'm not jittering too horribly right now.
You are.
How do I stop jittering?
Yeah, you are jittering.
You are jittering, and how do I stop? I don't know. You've never streamed from that laptop before.
Oh yes, I haven't.
I think. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's definitely because of the laptop camera.
It's because of the laptop camera. All right, I will then put on what can we do? Yeah, the laptop camera is pretty horrible here. Display capture.
Just switch to scene 3, I think.
Scene 3 is the scene 3, but I would like to not put on the. I will put on the picture of him and Zieduan so that you know it.
Yeah, that works.
Because we have a writer, very famous one, who's going to be. This is one of his famous. There it is. Pick a picture of him and Zieduan. Yeah. And I'll be right back.
Perfect.
Oh, that one? Okay.
He's with an axe. This one.
I mean, he lived in the countryside. He's one of the Latvia's most famous poets. It's not a folk fairy tale, but these basically are folk fairy tales at this point, I would say. So yeah, here we go.
Do I put it on? Okay.
Yes, you put on the headphones and then you take the microphone.
I can barely hear him, so I will just ignore him while he goes and refills his beer. I chose to read fairy tales from Imants Ziedonis. He's mainly known as a poet, one of the most famous Latvian ones. I have even European literature etymology book, and Imants Ziedonis is the one who's representing Latvia as a poet. Sorry, I'm just a bit tired and hungry, and Kristaps made me read a fairy tale for you. But after listening to Yuri Yevich, I chose to switch which one of the fairy tales I wanted to read from Imants Ziedonis, because originally I wanted to read the green fairy tale. By the way, there's a book of that is called Colorful Tales, and he's just choosing one color and writing a fairy tale about it. I wanted to start with the green one. It is my favorite. It is about forest taking over a city. It's really cute. But after listening to Yuri Yevich, I decided to start with the purple fairy tale, and I think you will understand why. So, pardon my pronunciation, and maybe me being a little bit jittery. So, the purple fairy tale. Once there was a man who really liked booze. As soon as he drank even a little bit of alcohol, his head began to spin, and that's what he really enjoyed. His head spun in one direction, faster and faster, humming like a top, and then stop. It stopped spinning. He saw multicolored spots before his eyes, leaned against the post in order not to fall, and waited. Indeed, the spinning now went in the other direction, faster and even faster, and then it too stops. The man was always staggering around, for how could a person whose head is spinning walk a straight line? People asked him, "Aren't you afraid that your head might spin off entirely? One day it might just spin and spin, gathering speed until it spun right off and rolled into that ditch." "Ha," said the man with booze in his head, "there'll be no rolling by itself. When my head falls into a ditch, I will fall with it." "Well, you are lucky that your head, when it spins and spins, and then suddenly stops, does so with your nose pointing forward. But what about it stops with your nose facing backward? What then?" "My head is no fool's head. My head is no hydrocephalus. My head is a booze head, a vodkacephalus. I knows and how to stop," the man replied. "Not be outdone, let him be." Yet one evening, when everyone was coming from there he was, lying in a ditch with his head spun around. It was not his chin or his nose about the knot of his tie, but the back of his head. They turned the man over, but it wasn't so. When he turned him on his back, but when they placed him nose up, the rest of him on his belly. They decided that perhaps they should simply turn his head and try that, very gingerly. But it was no use. They were afraid to do it more forcefully, for fear of killing the man. Then the man in the ditch began to beg them for more booze. And, once they gave him some, his head began spinning once more. It spun and it spun, and then stop. It halted wrong again. This time the nose was pointing to one side. "Oh, all right," said people. "Why don't you just take care of it yourself?" And they just went home. The man also went home. When one's head is sideways, one can walk and see where one is walking. Once he was at home, he drank some more, and luckily, this time his head returned to its proper position. But from that time on, this man was seen again and again with his head not on straight. He drank a lot, so his head kept spinning, and when it stopped, it might be aslant, crooked, or just plain wrong. The man had a motorcycle, and a motorcycle's rider's permit, but soon the police confiscated it, For how can one ride a motorcycle if one's head is on sideways or back onto front? The man had big problems at home as well. His wife never knew how to set the table. If her husband's head was on a back to front, she liked to have him sit with his back to the table. Then his mouth was facing the table. But what about his hands? How was he supposed to eat? Just imagine if your mouth were at the nape of your neck and tried to lift a spoon behind your head. It's not easy. This man could not really eat on his own at such times, and his wife or someone else had to feed him. Often his children were the ones who fed him like a baby. This man built boats. If his head was on right, there was no problem with his boats. The bow and the stern were exactly where they were supposed to be. But if his head happened to be on front to back, it was impossible to tell what was what, and it looked like he had been building the bow this way one day, that way the next. If his head had been aslant, then the boat, once launched, would pull to one side. As a result, this man was dismissed from his work building boats, and people wondered what job to give him. It was decided he should work as a cowherd in a collective farm, but that didn't work either. He could not chase the cows down with his head facing backward. There were times when he made the cows move round and round, sometimes forward, at other times backward. However, his turned head found fit. The farm collective board held a meeting to decide what to do, and they agreed that the man was still young, not ready for a pension, so he should be employed. They decided, let him work in the collective's orchard as a scarecrow. Wasn't his head always turning? Well then, that was what was needed to save the cherries from the threshers. And if his head should wear something like a lid of a large pot, or an old bicycle wheel hung with empty cans that someone in the sunlight and made a noise whenever his head turned, that would make a kind of a mini merry-go-round, which was likely to chase any thrush away. So this is what they did, and to this day the man still guards the collective's orchard. His head spins and spins, making all the cans rattle, and the thrushes give this whole contraption a wide berth. That is, if this man is still alive. For how long can a man live with a head that spins and spins and spins? The man's nose began to change color, first pinkish, then dark red, then maroon, finally becoming bright purple. No one else had such a bright purple nose. If he put his nose in a vase with white lilacs, the blossoms soon turned lilac as well. His children no longer needed to go to the store for ink. All they had to do was ask Dad to dip his nose in a glass of water. If he kept it immersed for a while, the water turned to very dark purple ink. On seeing his bright purple nose, the chairman of the farm collective had a thought. What if this nose was actually potassium permanganate? What if the collective could buy the nose and build a nice little potassium permanganate factory? You do know what potassium permanganate is, don't you? It is that purple powder that you dissolve in water and use to rinse your throat if you have tonsillitis or just sore throat. But the man would not give up his nose entirely, however. Sure, he would gladly lend it for the big masked balls at the cultural center for the amateur theater group when they needed a drunk. There were times when the man felt ashamed of his nose, and he tried to paint it over, but no paint really sticks for long on live human skin, and one must wash every morning. So the paint kept peeling. His nose got all patchy, and finally it was visibly purple. Purple once more. And then something really strange happened to the nose. It not only turned purple, but also became bigger and rounder. Once there was a festival with many balloons of various colors. Some swayed tied to people's wrists, others flew with the wind over their heads. And the man's purple nose saw a little purple balloon and apparently got all mixed up. It either thought that it too was a balloon, or that the balloon was really a nose. So that as it may, it took off from the man's head, shoot up into the air, and, swaying merrily, began to fly away. "Nose, my nose!" the man cried. and everyone else pointed and yelled, "Nose! Nose, catch it! It's that man's nose!" But the nose was gone forever. The man died a short while later. Either his heart was sick and exhausted from the booze, or he simply could not live down the fact that his own nose had run away from him, and there he was, dead as a doorknob. Soon people started saying that other purple noses had escaped their drunken masters, and the drunkards died soon after. They said it was kind of a nose disease, but others said that it was the other way around, that people who drank so much booze were sick that that's why their noses ran away. From that time on, people with purple noses have begun to wear little nose gloves to prevent their noses from escaping. When you see a man with purple nose, ask him why he isn't wearing a nose glove. Isn't he afraid his nose might take off? Yes, you may understand why I was inspired to read exactly this fairy tale, and yes, it's fairy tale about a drunken man. Welcome to Latvia. It was actually read to little kids, but I still find it quite cute. Other fairy tales from him will be a little bit more positive, especially the green fairy tale. But after Yevich, this was just appropriate by my standards. So, is Kristaps still away?
Yep.
Amazing. Where is he?
I don't know.
Can you go find him? Sorry, I'm not very chatty because I just want to have my supper finally. He's there. About fairy tales, the thing I wanted to say, I will try to find other fairy tales from other Latvian authors that are translated in English. It's not as easy as you might think. I also thought it will be a little bit easier. But I will need to raid some bigger libraries for it. Also, you probably wanted to hear some folk fairy tales. I promise those as well. I need to get my hands on one nice book that was... Those were specifically the folk fairy tales translated in English, and I feel like I will have to do some translating myself, which will take time, definitely, but sooner or later I think I will do it as well, because not many are translated, and also I will need to contact my friends from Lithuania and Estonia, so they would send their fairy tales as well. And Kristaps finally arrived.
See, I told you can do it, honey.
My slipper back.
Didn't take it. All right. See, honey, it wasn't this bad.
I was not prepared.
I know. This is why this.
Stumbling.
I know that you were stumbling and were not prepared, honey. I know, but you had to read it. See, the people liked it. You told me to do this more after Starsky, so I am. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Next time, we had a plan that she's gonna be sitting on a club chair and everything. However, besides the Yevich part and all this stuff, after a breather, after everything, there's another video that I show you, which is just 17 minutes long though. It's not a long one. It's from Russian opposition, but that shows the mechanisms of how people like this are made. Oh, look, War Friends have made a new video. Yeah, you can see what I watch myself. Let me just check on Maxim Katz, because he has English subtitles, and he is claiming that he's a opposition media personality. But, well, he's living in Israel, and he's
quite annoying and arrogant, but he's still in opposition here. However, this video is what I wanted to show you for the stream, because it shows how efforts of mainstream Russian propaganda function and how the official Russian propaganda portrays everything in a way that sort of forms more Yuri Yevich's. Because I hadn't seen this outlook about... It's hard to explain. This is about how in the school teachers organize darts game with his head and how weird things are pushed on the schools to do in a propaganda way during this war, and how that impacts everything and just creates more propaganda. It's kind of an outlook on this, because Yevich had to come somewhere. And this is what the official state tries to do, at least. Because, you know, in your real life, you understand that maybe the government's lying to you, but they start when you're little. And again, I really hope you liked the fairy tale. We're gonna record them properly. There's gonna be more and everything. It's just our patrons asked us to do that, and we promised them, but then we had to fix our heating service and everything. So
This was free trial.
this was a free trial. We're gonna do this for patrons and and supporters. Yeah, it's gonna be great. But sadly, back to Russian stuff we go. But this is really interesting, because this is the type of Russian propaganda that is internal. Normally, you guys, if you live in the West, you would only see the stuff that is meant for, you know, your use, basically. This is not the RT stuff. This is the stuff that comes from higher ups, from the local governors, that kids in schools are forced to do. Thankfully, he has his own subtitles professionally translated, so I'll just be commenting on some areas and answering your questions on the YouTube chat. But normally wouldn't be showing you much, but I feel like at least should show you the most significant videos from the Russian blogosphere. And although I have disagreements with Maxim Katz, you know, what happened here and what he became a hero of, that definitely should be enlightening for you and explain at least where Yuri Yevich came from. But I really hope that the whole break was needed for me as well, because again, if you sit there and think about all the war stuff, yeah, fairy tales are very useful. But okay, here is a video about how this liberal opposition media person, well, enjoys Russian school life in Donetsk here.
Типа Старобешева, который находится в ДНР, примерно в 35 километрах от Донецка, произошла неожиданная акция. Директор местной школы номер 1 и учителя повесили на мишень для дартса несколько портретов и расстреляли их дротиками. Среди прочих там были фотографии Аллы Пугачевой, Юрия Дудя, Петра Верзилова, Ильи Варламова, ну и мое фото тоже было. И почему-то еще снимок сотрудника Константина Придыбаева. Акцию педагоги записали на видео.
Сегодня сотрудники школы номер 1 принимают участие в акции «Позор».
Traitor shaming event. Alexander Nevzorov, Позор России. He's the person that taught me journalism.
Вот они, предатели России.
Алла Пугачева, right? There's Yuri. And Maxim Katz to Khodorkovsky, of course. Again, I feel, you know, I really feel bad that I'm on the list.
Если бы учителя проверили, кого именно им приказали ненавидеть, то уж на фамилии сотрудника госканала-то могли бы что-то заподозрить. Но не проверили и не заподозрили. Из-за этого происшествие выглядит не как забавный курьез, а как грустная история. Возможно, вы помните,
this is an example.
Школ учителя на камеру делали шапочки из фольги. Тогда, как и в этот раз, заведомо нелепая...
No, this is opposition person speaking. Maxim Katz is opposition. He's liberal opposition. He is living in Israel now. But this is happening, well, as you can see, in Russian schools. This is in Donetsk, because those are controlled more seriously. Remember, a while ago, it happened in Russian schools as well. It's like in regional schools. This is what people who work for the government are forced to do in schools. They just follow what the orders is happening here. Russian teachers are doing this in occupied areas. Russian teachers are doing this basically everywhere. Just we have videos from the occupied areas because they have to post accounts because of the front line.
Так что попробуйте. 1 сентября этого года Старобешевская школа номер 1 отпраздновала свой юбилей. Ровно 120 лет. И сайт, и соцсети учебного заведения на первый взгляд составляют довольно благоприятное впечатление.
This is about surrealism. This is from Donetsk, but yeah, Bashkortostan and other places, they have their own qualities, but everyone is forced to do these things about talks about important. This is actually a look of how the new subject that Putin introduced, discussions about the important stuff, that stuff, how they look like. And again, these guys, as they're in Donetsk, they're just forced to report everything. I remember that we had a guy who literally quoted Warhammer 40k, all the lore of Warhammer 40k in these lessons too. Scam this.
Содержание разговора я не знаю, огульно критиковать не буду, но вот фотографии. А вот точно такой же разговор среди младшеклассников. Фотографии все с официальной страницы школы в ВК, отмеченной синим флажком. 25 сентября на специальном профориентированном уроке говорили об атомной энергетике. 22 сентября та же тема для ребят из начальных классов. Я намеренно пропустил мероприятие с провоенной и открыто политизированной тематикой.
Yeah, because in other places you can't really see those social media stuff as much.
Думаю, вы тоже обратили внимание. Все
And for me, I also can't see them because I was banned from Kontakte for spreading porn. I haven't posted a single picture there. It's just that if you're in Russian social media, they can ban you for anything, and this is something that I can't get. But according to Telegram, things like these happen all over the place. Except in Donetsk, it might be a little bit more ideal, like a little more через жопу, a little more kind of pushed through, because people have to do this. Here you go.
Которая с 2014 года работает на непризнанной территории с, мягко говоря, сильной местной спецификой. Предположим, на этом этапе, что это самое обычное учебное заведение.
Here he explains this, yeah.
По идее, каждый спецурок, уж особенно профориентированный, требует отдельной подготовки. Педагогам следует сесть, продумать формат, почитать литературу, посмотреть всякие видео, послушать подкасты. И все это помимо стандартной учебной программы. Помимо проверки тетрадей, учеников, заполнения безумного количества бумажек. Не секрет, что из-за раздутой бюрократии многие учителя могут выспаться только на каникулах. По идее, специальные занятия и уроки не могут проходить часто. Их же не так просто подготовить. Однако в Старобешевской школе номер 1
this is more a cultural one because I need to do Yevich, and I really wanted to show you this one. But I have a compilation of really good, interesting videos that I would like to show you, coming from both Russian opposition and Vatnik, because I remember someone asked me to do an episode on where do they learn about West, and that led me to rabbit hole, because it's a video within a video, and the theories keep circulating, and then you have to talk about all sorts of things. I have actually genuinely read that it was the United States government who killed Kennedy to blame everything on the Soviet Union, but Soviet Union apprehended the CIA murderers and just pushed off the Oswald guy to kind of cleanse their own hands. No, seriously, there are theories about that even going on. And some of them are just weird. And then we have a plan on taking a look at everyone who's an extremist in Russia too. A lot of things, but throw out all this packaging too. Is this an ad? Honey, is this an ad? This is an ad. We will...
Oh look, we will skip the ad. Hello ad. Bye ad.
От оценки шансов и выстраивания стратегии
No.
до подачи петиции и получения грин-карты команда
This regular sound, not where...
Их офис находится в Нью-Йорке. А
they have New York office, apparently.
для одобрения
I don't even know their ad.
достижениями в своей... Кстати, сходит ли
I like how they don't translate that. It's something with an office in New York that offers some sort of...
один и пользоваться. Спасибо, что смотрите рекламу. Она позволяет нашему каналу оставаться независимым. Продолжаем. Довольно обычные проблемы постсоветского образования в случае старобешевской школы погружены в очень необычный контекст. С 2014 года учебное заведение функционирует на непризнанной территории, которую передали под управление очень специфичному режиму. Формальное включение этой территории в состав России ничего особо не поменяло. Во главе ДНР стоит нетривиальная
these are people, as far as I understood, these were, he was advertising people who help people migrate to New York from Russia. Basically, if you haven't escaped already, please do. They obviously can't advertise Russian stuff, but yeah, offices in New York City. The guys who run the ads. There's a lot of those things. If you live in a bigger city in the West, then he definitely, this channel's big enough so that he organizes actually sort of his fan meets and everything. Things that they're rented, they're one of the most expensive places in all of Riga to do this. But I have to check how much subs does he have. Let me check, I'll do this from my phone.
Конкретно Старобешевскую недавно отремонтировали и переоснастили.
Yeah, Maxim Katz has 2.4 million subscribers.
Деньги и рабочие руки выделила
He's a
Республика
politician.
Бурятия и Забайкальский край.
He's the default face of Russian liberal opposition, except very annoying.
Свое дело хорошо. К ним вопросов нет.
When he speaks about Russian issues, he's fine, but when he tries to explain the West to his audience, then we get in trouble.
Есть аббревиатура, которая очень созвучна ОПГ. Это ОГП. Общественно-государственная подготовка. Это что-то среднее между обществознанием и разговорами о важном, только в российской армии. В пунктах постоянной дислокации они в теории проходят регулярно, пару раз в неделю. Однако командир, который на самом деле о чем-то говорит с личным составом, встречается 1 на 100. На практике ОГП сводится к хождению строем до учебных классов, чисто механическому производству наглядных материалов и конспектов. С обязательным фотоотчетом. Это одна из самых известных новаций Сергея Шойгу. В Старобешевской школе номер 1 и без того на постоянной основе проходят нарочито милитаризированные мероприятия. С оружием, камуфляжем и регулярными визитами военнослужащих в школьные классы. Но я намеренно до этого показывал занятия на гражданские, казалось бы, темы. Потому что при внимательном взгляде казармщина видна и там. Не лишним будет напомнить. В начале войны сокрушить украинскую оборону на Донбассе пытались в первую очередь руками народных милиций ДНР и ЛНР. Эти формирования шли впереди российских войск. Люди в них ценились гораздо ниже, чем солдаты и офицеры армии России, которые тоже командованием никогда высоко не ценились. Отношение к дончанам и луганчанам, как к людям второго сорта, не изменилось и после формального присоединения ЛДНР к России. Для большинства граждан России фразы о том, что из их детей, мол, готовят пушечное мясо для будущих войн, звучат как недопустимое преувеличение и набивший оскомину штамп оппозиционной прессы. Оттого не сразу можно поверить, что в действительности есть территория, которая воспринимается Кремлем как источник дешевой живой силы. На этой территории состояние перманентной гуманитарной катастрофы. Это не баг, а фича. Там ниже ценится человеческая жизнь, а людей, особенно детей, легче муштровать и заодно накручивать на ненависть к соседям. Это же соседи во всем виноваты.
Meanwhile, I'm on my phone and I opened Igor Girkin's channel, and they're having a vote.
Отчего теперь, значит, мы сидим без воды?
Check this out, honey.
Кстати, Пушкин, портреты висят в классах Старобешевской школы.
I'm gonna give you their options.
Дончанам. Вот, мол,
I'll wait
захватим
after this
Славянск
one.
и пустим в воду. При нынешних темпах наступления захватить его предполагается, вероятно, как раз нынешними старшеклассниками. Когда мы в редакции только начали знакомиться с постами на странице Старобешевской школы, нам понравилось тема занятия «Что такое уважение?». В описании урока были неплохие слова написаны. Учащимся рассказали, на чем строится уважение, признание ценности каждого человека, его достоинств, мнений и потребностей. Школьникам предложили назвать людей, которых они уважают. Но не стоит слишком обольщаться, читая такой пост. Вы можете проверить по сайту Kremlin.ru. В течение нынешней войны Путин особенно часто вставлял в свою речь слово «милосердие». И об уважении тоже говорил много.
That's the whole thing that their online services are actually very developed, but that's mostly for the secret services to use.
С расстрелом портретов людей. Некоторые из них совсем не знакомы. О них не составлено вообще никакое собственное представление. А в казарме и некогда думать. Да и опасно. У властей в ДНР с несогласными разговор короткий. или на подвал, как там они говорят, или отобрать паспорт, квартиру, все вещи и депортировать. Раньше людей вообще гнали пешком в сторону линии фронта. Сами же записывали это на камеру.
Oh my God, there's a pic of Girkin's daughter
паспорт, к слову,
with his
отнимается очень
wife.
легко. На так называемых новых территориях гражданство России у людей приобретенное. В случае нелояльности оно может быть прекращено без суда.
I know, right?
О том, что, дескать, человек представляет опасность для
After this is over, I'm opening
Среди коллектива
Girkin's
школы, вероятно,
wife's
есть
channel,
кто-то,
reading
кто
the
любит
news.
песни Аллы Пугачевой. Да и наверняка почти все. Ведь за всю историю России
There's
со
more.
времен Рюрика ни один глава государства столько не правил, сколько слушают у нас Пугачева. Может быть, кто-то и смотрит и интервью Дудя или ролики Варламова. Может, и на мой канал кто-то подписан. Однако эти люди вынуждены скрывать собственное мнение.
I have no
Дома
idea.
смотреть и слушать, а на работе демонстративно ненавидеть. Я не знаю, насколько свободны были в выборе ученики Старобешевской школы, когда им предложили назвать людей, которых они уважают. Но думаю, что совсем не свободны. Добрая половина музыкантов, популярных у молодежи, объявлены врагами или недостаточно традиционными. А может быть, никто ребят на самом деле и не спрашивал. Зачитали им что-то и построили для фотографии. Этого я не знаю, но такой вывод напрашивается. И все же, мне бы очень хотелось, чтобы во взрослом возрасте кто-то из выпускников, если их спросят, кого они уважают, назвал бы педагогов своих.
Oh yeah, and the
Хотя,
final
понимая
news
скорость распространения информации, легко
is
предположить,
gonna be,
что в школе
gonna be
из
a part of
450
what I'm
учеников
working on
не
next,
осталось ни
because
одного, кто не
as I
посмотрел
was
бы то
checking
видео
this,
с дротиками.
we have
Но
Igor
даже
Girkin
у
about the
11-классников
confrontation of
впереди
USA
еще
and
целый учебный
China.
год. Можно попробовать, чтобы к
I'm
выпускному
sure
им
the
более
Americans
всего
always wanted to
запомнились не
hear Igor
дротики,
Girkin
торчащие
commenting on
из
their
дудя,
politics.
а что-то доброе и светлое. Против системы там, конечно, не пойдешь. Внутри России, в ее международно признанных границах, у несогласных директоров и учителей какое-то пространство для маневра еще остается. Огромное число педагогов
the trick with
игнорируют
this guy is that he
начальственную
thinks
дурь,
that
саботируют
Russia can still be
одиозные
made a normal
приказы
country.
банальным бездействием. Учителя часто подмигивают своим ученикам, да так, что
Well, to some level,
формально
normal
по
people can
бумажке
be made that,
придраться
but
не
the
к чему,
government
но ученики
apparatus
все
is just
поняли.
rotten
Но то в России.
beyond
В
everything.
ДНР, если будут бить, то не по бумажке, а прикладом по лицу. Однако не обязательно же прямо идти против системы. Вот в Старобешевской школе часто отчитываются о мероприятиях, посвященных
Гагарин and
космонавтике.
Cosmos, yeah.
Ведь правда здорово поговорить на разговорах о важном, о космосе.
Riga was
Но
always
не только,
almost
чтобы
named Gagarin.
произвести
He's
требуемые
never even
плакаты и
set foot here, by the
фотоотчеты,
way.
а чтобы между визитами в школу военных с автоматами можно было помечтать о других планетах, о далеких звездах. Для детей очень важна возможность и умение свободно мечтать. Все те советские космические корабли, орбитальные станции, межпланетные аппараты строились не только из металла и теплоизоляции, но и из мечты. Отсюда столько детских книг и фильмов о
Yeah,
космосе.
he's after all a
И
politician.
целый жанр космическая музыка,
He's now trying
который
to
жив до
gain
сих пор.
votes from
На Ютубе
expats.
есть 40-минутный сборник советских и российских композиций, который произвел фурор в мире. Называется он «Наша мечта». Сергей Павлович Королёв в детстве не стоял у доски с плакатом. Он с восторгом смотрел на полет пионера русской авиации Сергея Уточкина. Учился у отчима Григория Баланина, который был инженером. И мечтал, продолжал мечтать даже в сталинских лагерях.
Well, that is true.
В 24-м, как и каждый год, в Старобешевской школе номер 1 отмечали День космонавтики.
For us,
Опять с построением для
it's
фотоотчета.
cosmonauts over
Но в том
here in
году
these
был
parts.
хороший слоган, его видно на доске. «Космос — это мы». Было бы здорово, чтобы ребята хоть раз почувствовали по-настоящему, что каждый из них не просто
The
элемент
problem is that,
шеренги.
his ideas are nice and everything, but
До завтра.
he's actively conflicting with even the 90s team. Yeah, and this is the military stuff at the end, which they're being shown. Today we got news that a kid was given an armored vest and beaten up by his teacher, like as a demonstration that the West can protect him. Also, just oh, Motorola, that guy who was one of the first guys. Heroes of the DNR. I'd say Gagarin is better than these guys. But yeah, it's an impactful video that I thought you should see. However, before I watch this economy video by Milov of Navalny's team, let us open up Telegram, because I have things I want to show you from Girkin's wife's channel. And then we'll end the stream today. It's going to be great. Yes, Girkin's channel. Where is Girkin's wife? We need to open up his wife right now. Well, we have to... Oh, here we go. Miroslava Reginskaya, Svobodu Igoru Stelkovo. Okay, what do we even start with? Girkin's about things. Oh yeah, first of all, apparently his little daughter, Girkin's little daughter, won a contest. Do we have... Oh, this is working on computers? Let's see now. Her little victory. I mean, the thing is that little daughter is cute and everything, but this doesn't seem to be... I don't know, maybe that's normal, but that's Girkin's wife. Yeah, that's just scary. Also, yeah, no one else has put their photos of their kids on this stuff. It's just bizarre. I find this strange. I mean, but I guess, who finds what normal. However, there were two things that I wanted to show you. Because this one's, we're going to check out now. I have to open this one up with, actually, I want to read this in Russian because Telegram translate is horrible. But yeah, Igor Girkin, to my dear American listeners, about confrontation of United States and China in connection with the new tariffs by Trump. I'll just come here. First of all, as far as I know, new tariffs that have been put in place by Trump start from the November the 1st. Until November the 1st, it's still, as we normally say, cancer will whistle on the hill. I guess рак в горе свистет. There is lobster.
Lobster, yeah.
But he doesn't whistle on a hill. Okay, whatever. Lobster will whistle on a hill. I actually don't.
It's just a phrase.
I haven't heard that one, to be honest. Because the discussions between China and the United States, in their basics, mostly behind closed doors, continue non-stop. Yeah, he's now being a United States and China expert. Amazing. The main thing is that China and the United States can exchange further exchange with painful strikes against one another, and approximately equal, because for China it's possible to do. China can make the raw materials much more expensive. Sorry, just the sentence structure is a bit different here in auto-translate. Would just be horrible. First of all, we're talking about raw materials from rare earth metals for creation of high-tech machines. Computers of various sorts. Oh, Girkin thinks Russia produces computers. Oh, no, wait, that's States. I mean, Taiwan produces computers, but still. All sorts of electronics, in that case, including the military one. By the United States closing their own market, deal a huge blow to the development of China, the Chinese industry, because a very important part of the Chinese manufacturing is oriented to the United States markets. But at the same time, the United States don't have enough other other suppliers who could replace Chinese goods and replace China on the market of the United States for reasonable prices. That is, this trade war will, without doubt, cause a huge damage to both sides, and this is in bold. This is why I don't cancel out that
even until the new sanctions hit in full force, there will be some sort of hidden negotiations where both sides will win back something for themselves and will just sit down and do some peaceful talking without any meaning there. That is, with new trade deals which possibly won't satisfy anyone, but will be a compromise option. However, if the trade war will become a total, then I'm not counting out that after some time, it might turn into a hot war. At the very least, war for Taiwan, for the islands, which China has claims on Philippines. Confrontation will in that case will just grow and will move past by just the trade economic relationships, and there will be crisis not only in China, although even there it can be quite serious, but also in the United States. This is why we're waiting for November the 1st. If there won't be any discussions and negotiations done by November the 1st, then we can expect a very crass, radical obostrzenie. It's not sharpening. What is this? Heating up. The radical spike. Yeah, it's radical peak in the political interactions between these two great superpowers in modern day. Yeah, I mean, he makes sense there, but he didn't really say anything much. That his wife comments on other things. But yeah, of course they all comment on that stuff, and Igor Girkin can say meaningful things over there. Yeah, this is what we voted for, though. But I wanted to end this all this on a nice, polite note, because this is a nice little vote about tunnel between Russia and Alaska from Girkin's wife. Oh, I can't translate this one. Okay, honey, could you please read a translation of the options there? Yes, please do.
So yeah, this is a voting of how to rename the tunnel between Russia and Alaska. First and the least accepted, tunnel in the name of Khrushchev and Kennedy. Second option, tunnel in the name of Putin and Trump. Third, tunnel in the name of the great Mao Zedong.
Great leader.
The great leader Mao Zedong. And the last option that I chose.
79% of this many votes.
Yes. Let me give you a better translation. Let me think. Yeah, tunnel of destruction of personality and political schizophrenia. Yes.
Yeah, this is a quite complex thing, but as you can see, honey, did you just? Honey just sat on my keyboard.
Sorry.
See, as you can see, 79% of these votes have gone for this one, and this duality of personality and political schizophrenia. Well, that can be seen in both parts, both in the schools and both in what Yuri Yevich does and how Russia is. Political schizophrenia is, I think, the defining quality of modern Russia today. There is practically no other way, and just like you wouldn't deal with a crazy person normally, like a crazy person in the sense that, actually mentally ill, you wouldn't allow them to sign important documents away or manage fates of many. Well, so you wouldn't really allow Putin to do the same. No offense to mentally ill people, by the way. Yuri Yevich is much worse than that. He's just evil. I highly doubt that any medication will help him. Any much necessary medication, really, though. Maybe that was a bad analogy. I don't know. I didn't mean to be offensive anyways. I'm sorry. It's just that political schizophrenia, all this mess and not sleeping and nonsense. But yeah, that's the whole problem, is that all this nonsense and war is driving everyone here insane, and the whole
weirdness how Russia exists in its own parallel reality. While, for example, Maxim Katz, he thinks Russia is this just, liberal country that just needs saving and doesn't see the fundamental problems. Meanwhile, Yuri Yevich just disregards whatever actually is happening and lives in his idealized world. And then we have this mess.
He's definitely mentally unwell, but mental illness and not being he is mentally unwell. Just mental illness and being mentally unwell is extremely wide term, and he is mentally unstable in the worst way possible, and I think that's some form of schizophrenia, definitely, because he thinks all the world is attacking Russia and so on. It's definitely schizophrenia, some spikes of it. So yeah, he's not stable mentally, and he's also evil. The best and he's a patriot of Russia. The worst combination you can imagine.
I deal with and when I do the research for things. I promise you next time we'll be watching more good videos that I've compiled, cultural videos about important things that are not directly war related, because again I have to take breaks too. And thank you for listening to Evita reading a fairy tale. I hope that this encourages her to do more. Thank you for being here, and I hope that you understand what's going on a bit more, because in a way Russia is right, because this is a war of truly civilizations, but you kind of have to understand what's at stake here. Otherwise, Yuri Yevich, the old man, has no problems telling every child and old person and kid and woman around that you're about to go to war, and that's okay because that's normal. This is what I fear the most. That at one point for these fanatics it becomes war for war's sake, but hey, that's fascism. Fascism to the point where they compare themselves to Waffen SS even, and don't notice it. And that's a bit dark. But yeah, I personally would vote also for the Khrushchev-Kennedy tunnel, by the way. Because political schizophrenia, have that enough already. But yeah, that's it for today. I will record an episode tomorrow. I haven't figured out which one of my scripts I'm going to do, but tomorrow evening I'm going to have the time. And I will put on the third episode of the Понятие series the day after that. So stay tuned. Thank you for joining in. And I don't know, I don't really, organize these that much. It's just that I need to see these videos anyways, and it's more mentally beneficial for me to talk to you guys. I hope that you also gain something from it, because I still feel a bit shy about all this mess. But happiness is mandatory, and good night, folks. Oh, and please like and subscribe, and what else do these people say? I don't even know. I hate that nonsense.
The bell button.
The bell button. Do we have a bell button?
The bell.
Oh yeah.
Smash the bell
I
button.
don't think we have earned the bell button yet.
Absolutely destroy the bell button.
Yes.
Oh no.
Wreck it.
Okay, goodbye, folks. No buttons.
Destroy the button.
Destroy it.
No, like
Kill it.
it's mentally torturing me that I'm moving here and it shows it's on the OBS, but I want to click it on the.
Oh no.
Rob, end the stream, please. I can't.
Stream continues.
Nah, we'll be fine. Good night, folks. I want to click outside that, right? But I can't.
Oh yeah, you.
We have discovered that I can't click outside the thing.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Possibly.